Chapter 16:28 Jar of the Precepts. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The jar of the precepts, as the name suggested, was the power of the precepts. When it entered the body, every muscle and even every cell would be filled with the power of the precepts. At this level, the physical strength of a person's body would skyrocket. His combat strength would also be terrifying. He was only half a step away from the Saint Realm. Huang Ling also had an inferior heaven's spiritual body. She was a prodigy at the same level as the 10th prince. However, she was only a stage 2 half-saint. If she fought with the 10th prince, she would be easily defeated. In the 100-tribe battlefield, this kind of prodigy was the strongest. Prodigies who were even stronger would rarely come to the 100-tribe battlefield because there would be no training for them. The 10th Golden Crow Prince looked around and said, "I'm sure everyone knows that the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb is about to appear." Many people were shocked. The 10th Prince's first sentence was about the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Was he doing this because of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? Finally, someone can't help it. Lu Ming smiled faintly and glanced at Huang Ling. "I also know that some people have already obtained the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. It is in Darkwater City." The 10th Prince continued. Many people's eyes lit up. They knew that the 10th Prince was going to take the lead. However, the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb are divided into many parts. It is useless to obtain a single part. Only by gathering them together can we find the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and obtain the treasures inside. Today I will take the lead. I also have the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Those who have the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb can gather at the Golden Crow Hall tomorrow at noon. After all, these maps and keys are useless if they are not combined. They can only be scraps. In the end, the Golden Crow 10th Prince added. Then his enormous body disappeared. He disappeared from the sky. The 4 people from the Golden Crow clan also disappeared from the sky. How about it? Are we going to the Golden Crow Hall tomorrow? Huang Ling looked at Lu Ming. Of course. If we don't go, our maps and keys will be useless, Lu Ming said with a smile. At this moment, some people in Darkwater City were also looking at the 10th Prince. The entire Darkwater City was discussing this matter. After a day of silence, Lu Ming and Huang Ling headed for the Golden Crow Hall at noon the next day. The Golden Crow Palace was also bought by the Golden Crows in Darkwater City as a temporary residence. It was very large and was not smaller than the Phoenix Palace. When Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived at the square in front of the Golden Crow Hall, they realized that it was already crowded. Many geniuses had gathered around the square. There were also many natives. Most of them didn't have the map or the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. They were only here to watch the show and see who had the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. There were dozens of golden-robed young men standing on the square. They were all members of the Golden Crow tribe. Among these people, there was a young man with a golden crown on his head. He sat on a chair and looked around with a dignified expression. He was the 10th Prince of the Golden Crow tribe. Lu Ming and Huang Ling blended into the crowd and did not go out. "Who has the map and key to the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb? Come out." The voice of the Golden Crow clan's 10th Prince sounded. Bang! Bang! At that moment, a figure stepped into the air and landed on the square. It was a young man who looked to be in his 20s. He was tall and slender and was surrounded by lightning. His aura was intimidating. It's wild lightning Yi Dongfang from the Thunder God sect. Someone exclaimed, "This person is very powerful." Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. The lightning surrounding Yi Dongfang was formed by the law of lightning. Once he attacked, it was earth-shattering. Yi Dongfang is extremely terrifying. He is an expert who is not weaker than the 10th Prince. Huang Ling transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. "Yi Dongfang, you have the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb?" The 10th Prince's eyes shot out 2 beams of golden light as he stared at Yi Dongfang. That's right. Yi Dongfang's hand glowed, and a jade talisman and key appeared in his hand. They were almost the same as the jade talisman and key that Lu Ming and Huangling had obtained. Take out your map and key, Yi Dongfang said. The 10th Golden Crow Prince smiled. With a wave of his hand, a jade talisman and a key appeared in his hand. Surprisingly, there were 2 jade talismans and 2 keys. You actually obtained 2 sets of maps and keys. Lightning energy shot out of Yi Dongfang's eyes. Many prodigies looked at the jade talismans and keys in the 10th prince and Yi Dongfang's hands with burning eyes. However, no one dared to do anything. Trying to get the 10th prince and Yi Dongfang's hands was no different from seeking death. 3 sets. It's obviously far from enough. Who else has the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? The Golden Crow 10th Prince looked around again. Us. At this moment, 2 more figures stepped into the square. These 2 youths were undoubtedly extremely terrifying prodigies. Although they were not as strong as Yi Dongfang and the 10th Prince, they were on the same level as Huangling, the Blood Jail Prince, and Wan Tiancheng. A jade talisman and key appeared in their hands. After a while, another person stepped out and took out a jade talisman and key. After a while, another person walked out. There was no doubt that these people who had obtained the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's jade talisman and key were extremely terrifying. None of them were weaker than the Blood Jail Prince and Wan Tiancheng, including the one in the 10th Prince's hand. There were 6 sets of jade talismans and keys to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The eyes of Yi Dongfang, the 10th Prince, and the others lit up. If this continued, they might be able to gather the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Anyone else? The 10th Prince's voice sounded again. Let's go out. Huangling sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming. Okay. Lu Ming nodded. The 2 of them stepped out and landed on the square, immediately attracting everyone's attention. That's Huangling from the Phoenix Palace. Who is that kid? How can he stand with Fairy Huangling? I know. That kid came to Darkwater City with Huangling. He was assassinated by an assassin from the Thousand Slayer Manor as soon as he arrived. But that assassin was easily killed by him. He actually dared to kill an assassin from the Thousand Slayer Manor. How bold! Discussions broke out in the surroundings. The 10th Prince glanced at Lu Ming and Huangling before skipping over Lu Ming and looking at Huangling. He said, Huangling, do you have the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? It's not with me. It should be with both of us, Huangling said as a key appeared in her hand. A jade talisman appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Chapter 16:29. The 10th Golden Crow Prince, Yi Dongfang, and the others were surprised. They had not expected Lu Ming, a rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator, to have a map. It was obviously a set with the key in Huangling's hand. However, given Huangling's strength, why didn't she take the map from Lu Ming? Wouldn't it be better to combine the map and the key? Why did she let them have the same map? Is he from the Phoenix Palace? The 10th Golden Crow Prince asked curiously. No. Huangling shook her head. Not from the Phoenix Palace? Many people's eyes lit up. A mere rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator is not qualified to have the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Give it to me. A cold voice sounded. A figure stepped out, and a powerful aura shrouded Lu Ming. Prince Blood Prison. A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Brat, give me the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. You don't deserve it. Prince Blood Prison said coldly, his eyes full of greed. Even with his strength, he did not have the key or the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. This made him jealous. None of the others were weaker than him, so he did not dare to touch them. However, Lu Ming was only a rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator, so he did not take him seriously. The 10th Golden Crow Prince, Yi Dongfang, and the others looked on indifferently. They did not say anything, nor did they stop him. Having the map or the key meant that one was qualified to enter the reincarnation emperor's tomb with them. However, those who had the map or the key were all talented and powerful. Lu Ming was only a rank 9 martial royal realm cultivator. How could he be qualified to go with them? I don't deserve it. Do you? Lu Ming sneered. I don't. Then I'll let you know whether I have it or not. Prince Blood Prison's eyes were cold. A bloody light gathered on his body, and a powerful aura pressed down on Lu Ming. Suddenly, the cry of a phoenix was heard. Huang Ling released a powerful aura and stood in front of Lu Ming. She stared at Prince Blood Prison and said coldly, Blood Prison, Lu Ming is with me. If you want to attack him, let's see if you can defeat me. Huang Ling, what are you doing? Do you really want to work with a 9th layer martial emperor? I'm afraid that when we enter the reincarnation monarch's tomb, this person will only drag you down. Give me the map and cooperate with me. That's the way to go. Young Master Blood Prison said, trying to persuade Huang Ling, scram or fight. Huang Ling scolded coldly. You! Prince Blood Prison was enraged, but he was wary of Huang Ling. Although Huang Ling was a genius at the same level as him, Huang Ling had the immortal heavenly phoenix body. Her life force was too strong. When she fought, she did not fear death. With her powerful life force, she could often exhaust her opponents to death. Among the prodigies of the same level, Huang Ling was undoubtedly extremely difficult to deal with. Damn it! Young Master Blood Prison roared in his heart. What was wrong with Huang Ling? Was there something wrong with her brain? She would rather cooperate with Lu Ming than with him. What was the difference between bringing along Lu Ming and bringing along a burden? Could this brat be Huang Ling's lover? Young Master Blood Prison had such a thought. Not only him, but many people around the square also had the same thought. Brat, with your cultivation, you won't be able to obtain any treasures, even if you enter the reincarnation monarch's tomb. You'll only waste the map. Now, I'll give you a chance to sell the map to me. How about it? Young Master Blood Prison was still unwilling to give up. Scram! Lu Ming's answer was very simple. He only had one word. What did you say? Young Master Blood Prison's killing intent surged. He stared at Lu Ming viciously and said, Brat, don't think that you can be arrogant just because you have Huang Ling's support. You're just a piece of trash who only knows how to hide behind a woman. Let's see if you can keep the map of the reincarnation monarch's tomb. Having said that, young Master Blood Prison snorted coldly and stepped into the air, leaving the square. Among the crowd, 2 people looked at Lu Ming with fear. They were Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. The 2 of them had also come to Darkwater City. They knew Lu Ming's combat strength. Back then, Wan Tiancheng was killed by Lu Ming. Of course, they would not remind young Master Blood Prison of Lu Ming's combat strength. Wouldn't it be better for Lu Ming to make enemies? They could use others to deal with Lu Ming. Does anyone else have the map and key to the reincarnation monarch's tomb? The 10th Golden Crow Prince's voice sounded again. Around the square, everyone looked at each other. This time, no one stepped forward. Then, the 10th Golden Crow Prince asked a few more times, but no one stepped forward. Obviously, there was no one else. Everyone, we have 7 maps here. Let's take a look and see if everyone is here. What do you think? The 10th Golden Crow Prince suggested. Great, that's what I want. Yi Dongfang was the first to speak. Then the others nodded. Let's activate the patterns of the maps and put them together, the 10th Golden Crow Prince said. Then he waved his hand, and a golden light screen enveloped them so that the others around the square could not see them. Many sighed. They had wanted to peek at the maps, but it seemed like it was impossible. Within the golden light screen, the 10th Golden Crow Prince took out 2 jade talismans. He poured his energy into them, and the 2 jade talismans glowed. 2 maps appeared in the air. Then Yi Dongfang also poured his ethereal force into the jade talisman, and another map appeared. The 3 pieces of the map were pieced together in the air to form a larger map. but it was obvious that it was incomplete. Then the others also poured their ethereal force into the jade talismans, and the incomplete maps appeared. Lu Ming did the same. The jade talisman in his hand also appeared. There were a total of 7 maps pieced together. It's still incomplete. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's face darkened. Obviously, the 7 maps were pieced together to form a relatively large map. However, it was obvious that something was still missing. There was a missing piece in the middle and a corner on both sides. Judging from the size, there should be 3 missing pieces. There should be a total of 10 maps and 10 keys. It's indeed incomplete. The map doesn't indicate the specific location at all. It seems that the specific location will only be shown when all 10 maps are complete. Yi Dongfang said, "Maybe the person who obtained the remaining maps and keys is not in Darkwater City, but in the other 3 cities." Someone said, there were a total of 4 cities in the center of the 100-tribe battlefield, and a large number of prodigies had gathered there. The remaining maps were likely in the other cities. It's possible. I will send people to the other 3 cities to spread the news. During this period, it's best for us to stay in Darkwater City. Once the maps and keys are gathered, we will set off for the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said. The others nodded and put away the maps. Some of them glanced coldly at Lu Ming, and a strange light flashed in their eyes. However, after glancing at Huang Ling, they were all wary. The 10th Golden Crow Prince waved his hand, and the light screen disappeared. Chapter 1630. I have something to do. I'll take my leave, Yi Dongfang said, and then left. Me too. Then the others left as well. It seems that the map is not complete. Otherwise, they would not have left. That should be the case. They are waiting for the rest of the map and the key. The people around speculated. Lu Ming and Huang Ling also stepped into the air and left. Many people's gazes landed on Lu Ming. All of them had greedy looks on their faces. No one knew what they were up to. Soon, Lu Ming and Huang Ling returned to the Phoenix Palace. I must continue to improve my strength, Lu Ming thought to himself. With his current combat strength, together with Bubble and Ming Lian's second body, it was more than enough to deal with a prodigy, like young Master Bloodjail. However, he was still lacking when facing prodigies like the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Yi Dongfang. However, Lu Ming's current cultivation had reached the peak of LV9 Martial Royal Realm. It was too difficult for him to break through in a short time. This was because he would be able to comprehend the ultimate realm and enter stage 1 of the Sage-to-Be. Entering the Sage-to-Be from LV9 Martial Royal Realm was a difficult task. Lu Ming had 2 ways to improve his combat strength in a short time. The first was the chaotic flipping sky seal. The second was to improve his soul power. He felt that he could soon break through the chaotic flipping sky seal and enter stage 5. As for his soul power, as long as he refined the demon crystals, it would continue to improve. Although geniuses like young Master Blood Prison and Huang Ling had spiritual deity defensive treasures to protect their souls, the defensive power was relative. If one's soul power was strong enough, it could still break through the defense and cause great damage to the soul. If Lu Ming's soul power was comparable to that of a bright sage expert, or even a great sage expert, he would only need to shout and look at young Master Blood Prison. He would be able to break through young Master Blood Prison's spirit deity defensive treasure and destroy his soul. In the final analysis, Lu Ming's soul power was not strong enough. Now his soul power was comparable to that of a stage 2 Sage-to-Be. When Lu Ming's soul power reached stage 3, even if his opponent had spiritual deity defensive treasures, it would still cause great damage. Therefore, Lu Ming decided not to challenge them for the time being. He would cultivate in peace in Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming sat cross-legged under the ancient Tree of Enlightenment. His mind entered a state of emptiness as he comprehended the chaotic flipping sky seal. In Darkwater City, young Master Blood Prison sat in a hall of a palace. His face was cold. I must get a map or key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Young Masterblood Prison said coldly as he clenched his fists. Without the map or key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb, he didn't even have the right to participate. Only with a map or key of the Reincarnation Monarch's tomb would he have the right to participate. Young Master, do you have any plans? There were several other young men in the hall, all of whom were subordinates of young Master Blood Prison. Snatch! Young Master Blood Prison's eyes lit up. He said, "That guy called Lu Ming is just a LV9 Marshal Royal Realm cultivator. What right does he have to have a map? That map should belong to me." The others' faces changed. One of them said, "But young Master, Lu Ming is hiding in Darkwater City. We can't attack him there. Moreover, he's in Phoenix Palace. Phoenix Spirit is in Phoenix Palace. How can we snatch it? I'll find a way to get help to deal with Phoenix Spirit. As long as Phoenix Spirit is lured away, Lu Ming will be easy to deal with. He's just a LV9 Marshal Royal Realm cultivator. As long as we capture Lu Ming and quickly escape from Darkwater City, the Saint Realm experts in Darkwater City won't be able to do anything." Young Master Blood Prison said coldly, "Young Master, you're brilliant." The others quickly flattered him. "Well, during this period, you should pay attention to Phoenix Palace and Lu Ming's movements. I'll find a way to get help to lure Phoenix Spirit away. As long as we find someone to help, we can start." Young Master Blood Prison said. Lu Ming had no idea about young Master Blood Prison's secret plan. He was wholeheartedly practicing the chaotic flipping sky seal. Lu Ming had already cultivated the primal chaos flipping sky seal to the peak of the 4th level. After this period of killing and tempering, it was on the verge of a breakthrough. Therefore, after Lu Ming cultivated wholeheartedly for 2 days, the primal chaos flipping sky seal naturally broke through and reached the 5th level. It was very difficult to cultivate the chaotic flipping sky seal. For example, Lu Ming did not spend too much time cultivating the wind thunder steps and the 13 accumulated strikes. However, he had only broken through to the 5th level after cultivating the chaotic flipping sky seal for so long. It was difficult to cultivate, but correspondingly it was more powerful. Every time the chaotic flipping sky seal broke through a level, its power would soar, especially in the last 2 levels. In the mountain river diagram, Lu Ming stood on the top of a mountain. The chaotic domain was surging. In his palm, a chaotic flipping sky seal appeared and grew larger. Then Lu Ming's palm shook and the chaotic flipping sky seal disappeared automatically. Then, in the other palm of Lu Ming, another chaotic flipping sky seal condensed. In the past, Lu Ming had to make gestures with both hands to condense the chaotic flipping sky seal. But now he could condense the chaotic flipping sky seal without making gestures. In this way, it would be more convenient to fight. Now let's increase my soul power. Lu Ming smiled and sat down. He took out a piece of demon crystal and began to refine it. In the blink of an eye, another 5 days passed. After 5 days of continuous refining, Lu Ming's soul power also broke through. The strength of his soul power was equivalent to that of a stage 3 half-saint. It's time to go out and see if there's any news. Lu Ming thought to himself. In the next moment, he came out of the mountain river diagram and sent a message to Huang Ling. Soon, Huang Ling found Lu Ming. "Huang Ling, how's it going? Has anyone who has the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb come?" Lu Ming asked. 3 days ago, an expert came. He has a map and a key. Now he's short of 2. Huang Ling said, "Oh, looks like it'll be soon." Lu Ming smiled. "Lu Ming, the situation in Darkwater City is getting more and more complicated. Many experts from other cities have come. You have to be careful." Huang Ling reminded him. Lu Ming nodded. He had a hunch that there would be a storm before the opening of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Darkwater City would not be peaceful. At this time, a female disciple of the Phoenix Palace came and bowed to Huang Ling, Saintess. Young Master Tunning of the Sky Bird Palace has sent someone here. He said that young Master Tunning has arranged a banquet at the Drunken Immortal restaurant and would like to invite Saintis for a chat. Young Master Tianying. Huang Ling frowned. Saintis, are you going? The people of the Sky Bird Palace also said that young Master Tianying has invited the Golden Crow's 10th prince. You're the only one left. The female disciple of the Phoenix Palace said. Huang Ling pondered for a moment and said, Go and tell them that I'll be there in a while. Yes. Chapter 1631. Skybird Palace? Is it also an Emperor-level force? Lu Ming asked curiously. That's right. It's a terrifying Emperor-level force. Skybird Palace is made up of flying beasts and divine beasts. They have many experts. As for Phoenix Palace, although we're humans, our bloodline and spiritual bodies are related to the Phoenix. Therefore, Phoenix Palace and Skybird Palace have a good relationship. Young Master Tianying is a peerless genius of Skybird Palace. He invited me to a banquet, and I can't reject him. Lu Ming, you can walk around Phoenix Palace. I'm leaving, Huang Ling said. All right, go ahead. Lu Ming nodded. Huang Ling turned and left. Lu Ming walked around Phoenix Palace for a while to relax. He then returned to his room and planned to enter the mountain river diagram to continue cultivating. At that moment, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. There were people in his room. 3 young men looked at Lu Ming with sharp eyes. Swoosh! One of the young men moved and appeared at the door. After a while, an inscription talisman appeared. Endless inscriptions filled the air and formed a halo that shrouded the room. Everyone, you've entered the wrong room, Lu Ming said lightly. Nonsense. Lu Ming, hand over the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. You're not qualified to have it, one of the young men said coldly. The 3 young men exuded powerful auras. They were all stage 2, sage to be experts. However, they had superior earth spiritual bodies. Who sent you here? Tell me and get lost, Lu Ming said coldly. You're courting death. Since you're not handing it over, I'll take it myself. One of the young men said coldly and stepped forward. He grabbed at Lu Ming with his palm. His palm expanded rapidly and was filled with blood-red light. Boom! Lu Ming threw a punch. The young man's palm exploded and his body was sent flying. He crashed into the halo and shattered it. His body crashed through the wall and flew out. Then Lu Ming turned around and threw another punch. The young man standing at the door was also sent flying by the same punch. How is this possible? The last young man was astounded. They were all in the 2nd stage of the half-step Saint realm and had comprehended the laws. However, they weren't a match for Lu Ming and were sent flying by Lu Ming's punches. Without a second thought, he shot up into the sky, broke through the room, and rushed out. Since you're here, don't leave, Lu Ming said coldly. His figure flickered as he chased after the young man. The young man was scared out of his wits and shouted, Young Master, save me! Boom! Just as the other party's voice faded, Lu Ming had already appeared beside him. The flowing element gloves glowed, and with a punch, the other party was torn into pieces. Generally speaking, geniuses with superior earthly spiritual bodies were no match for Lu Ming unless they had reached the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm and had a body of laws. They would be easily crushed and killed. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, the sound of something tearing through the air could be heard as a dozen figures charged toward Lu Ming. Their cold killing intent was not concealed at all. So many experts had actually come in. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. The divine sword art was activated through sound waves and rushed toward the experts. With Lu Ming's soul power that had reached the 3rd stage of the half-step Saint realm, the divine sword art's power was amazing. The young men suddenly screamed and fell to the ground one after another, no longer breathing. Damn it, Lu Ming, you deserve to die! An angry roar sounded as a blood-red figure appeared in the air and charged toward Lu Ming. Young Master Blood Prison, it's really you! Lu Ming said coldly. The last person to appear was young Master Blood Prison. At this moment, young Master Blood Prison's body was filled with cold killing intent, and his eyes were red. He was angry and heartbroken. Originally, he had thought that dealing with Lu Ming and a few second-stage, half-step saints would be enough. He had brought a dozen experts to support them. However, he did not expect that 3 experts would be killed by Lu Ming in an instant. Even the other dozen experts were killed by Lu Ming's soul attack. These were all supreme talents, which made his heart bleed. He had to tear Lu Ming into pieces. Hoo-hoo! A blood-red flag appeared in his hand. The flag expanded rapidly and covered the sky. It turned into a sea of blood that shrouded Lu Ming and the entire courtyard. "Who's there?" The disciples of Phoenix Palace were alarmed. They rushed out of their courtyards and stood in the air. When they saw the sea of blood, their faces changed. The sea of blood was too terrifying. If an ordinary person was shrouded in it, they would die. "It's young Master Blood Prison. How dare he cause trouble in our Phoenix Palace? Go and report to the Saintess." The disciples of Phoenix Palace were in an uproar. The commotion was huge. Not only Phoenix Palace, but more than half of the city was alarmed. Figures rushed into the air and watched from afar. "It's young Master Blood Prison. He actually attacked Phoenix Palace. He must be after the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb in Lu Ming's hands. But to be honest, that Lu Ming is not qualified to have a map. Isn't young Master Blood Prison afraid that Huang Ling will attack? He's probably using some other method to stop Huang Ling." Many people thought for a moment and guessed young Master Blood Prison's motive. Drunken Immortal Inn was some distance away from Phoenix Palace, but the commotion in Phoenix Palace still reached here. "Damn it, it's young Master Blood Prison." Huang Ling rushed out of Drunken Immortal Inn and looked in the direction of Phoenix Palace with a gloomy face. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 figures appeared beside Huang Ling. One was a young man in a black feathered robe, and the other was the 10th Golden Crow Prince. "Huang Ling, let's continue drinking." The young man in the black feathered robe said indifferently, "Young Master Tianning, I didn't expect you to join forces with young Master Blood Prison. You asked me out in advance so that young Master Blood Prison can take action." Huang Ling looked coldly at the young man in the black feathered robe. This person was young Master Tianning of Skybird Palace. Young Master Tianning chuckled and did not deny or admit it, but there was indeed an aura that locked onto Huang Ling. What is young Master Blood Prison doing? He actually caused such a huge commotion when dealing with a mere rank 9 Marshal Royal. Young Master Tianning snorted coldly in his heart. The 10th Golden Crow Prince looked indifferent. He did not know about this beforehand, and now that he knew, he would not care. "Huang Ling, let's continue drinking." Young Master Tianning continued. "All right, if you want a drink, I'll drink with you." Huang Ling suddenly smiled inexplicably and turned to return to Drunken Immortal Inn. This stunned young Master Tianning. He thought that Huang Ling would rush to Phoenix Palace to rescue them. He did not expect Huang Ling to return to Drunken Immortal Inn. It seems that Huang Ling and Lu Ming are not on good terms. Young Master Tianning laughed in his heart. Chapter 1632. In Phoenix Palace, young Master Blood Prison was frantically activating the blood flag. He was about to turn into a bloody light and merge with the blood sea. He wanted to refine Lu Ming. This move again. There was a cold smile at the corners of Lu Ming's lips. Then he raised both his hands in the air. Boom! In the sky, a huge chaotic flipping sky seal appeared and pressed down on the blood sea like a mountain. Boom! The blood sea shook violently. A large amount of bloody energy was destroyed. The blood sea was constantly suppressed and shrunk. When Lu Ming had first fought with young Master Blood Prison, he had used the chaotic flipping sky seal with all his might, but he had only been able to create a small opening in the blood sea. Now that the chaotic flipping sky seal had broken through to the 5th level, its power had increased tremendously. Even if Lu Ming had not used all his strength, he could still suppress the blood sea and constantly destroy it. Swish! The blood sea shook. Lu Ming turned into a beam of light and rushed out of the blood sea. He stood in the sky. Azura! Lu Ming, you are Azura! Young Master Blood Prison shouted wildly, and his voice spread far and wide. What? Azura? Lu Ming is Azura. That mysterious and powerful Azura is Lu Ming? It's possible. Don't forget that Azura's cultivation is also at LV9 Martial Royal Realm, the same as Lu Ming. Many people were surprised by young Master Blood Prison's shout. Lu Ming was the mysterious Azura who had been challenging experts. Whoosh! Young Master Blood Prison put away the blood sea. The blood sea turned back into a flag, and he held it in his hand. Lu Ming, since you are Azura, I have found the wrong person. Having said that, young Master Blood Prison wanted to retreat. He knew that if Lu Ming was Azura, he would not be able to defeat Lu Ming. Ho-ho, you have come today. Just like your men. Stay here forever, Lu Ming said coldly as he took a step forward. At the same time, light spots appeared on his body. 12 sacred weapons were suspended around him. Swish! Lu Ming grasped the black dragon spear and thrust it at young Noble Blood Prison. You want to kill me? You! Young Master Blood Prison roared and waved the blood flag. Blood light filled the sky as he fought with Lu Ming. Boom! 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 The two of them exchanged a few moves in a row, and their energy was rampant. Lu Ming, even if you use your ultimate move, you'll only be on par with me. You want to kill me? Dream on! Young Noble Blood Prison roared. Kill! Lu Ming suddenly shouted, and the divine sword secret art burst out. 2 jet black sword lights burst out from his eyes and rushed into Prince Blood Prison's body. Soul attacks are useless against me. I have the spiritual deity's defense. Ah! Sir Blood Prison stopped mid-sentence and let out a pained howl. He felt waves of tearing pain coming from his soul. How can your soul be so powerful? Young Noble Blood Prison roared. Lu Ming sneered and stepped into the void. A chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in his hand, and he threw it at Prince Blood Prison. Boom! This chaotic flipping sky seal had about 60% of its full power, and its power was amazing. Prince Blood Prison waved the blood flag and attacked the chaotic flipping sky seal. However, Prince Blood Prison was hit by Lu Ming's divine sword secret art. His soul was in pain, and his strength was somewhat reduced. After a violent collision, Prince Blood Prison retreated continuously. Buzz! Another chaotic flipping sky seal appeared in Lu Ming's hand and suppressed Prince Blood Prison. When Lu Ming threw out the chaotic flipping sky seal, his palms emitted a terrifying fluctuation. One could see that a chaotic flipping sky seal had appeared in each of Lu Ming's palms. 2 chaotic flipping sky seals appeared at once. One after another, they pressed down on young Master Blood Prison. At the same time, Lu Ming also used the divine sword secret art to attack Prince Blood Prison. Boom! 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 Prince Blood Prison used all his strength to resist. But after blocking 5 or 6 chaotic flipping sky seals, the blood light on his body kept trembling. His face was as pale as paper, and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Under the continuous attacks of the chaotic flipping sky seal and the divine sword secret art, Prince Blood Prison was seriously injured. Before the breakthrough of his soul power and the chaotic flipping sky seal, Lu Ming's main body could only fight Prince Blood Prison to a draw, even if he used all his strength. But now he could completely suppress Prince Blood Prison. Go! Prince Blood Prison was scared. After blasting away a chaotic flipping sky seal, he wanted to escape. However, an even larger flipping sky seal formed and suppressed him. At the same time, Lu Ming's glabella shone. His second body stepped out, and the Tai Chi disc array appeared. A Tai Chi pattern appeared and suppressed Prince Blood Prison. How is this possible? Prince Blood Prison's pupils contracted sharply, and he struggled to resist. However, under the joint attack of the second body and the main body, he was powerless to resist. Boom! Under the joint attack of the Tai Chi pattern and the chaotic flipping sky seal, his body exploded and turned into a ball of blood light. Then, the blood light wriggled and reformed into Prince Blood Prison's body. However, his current aura was much more dispirited than before. He was extremely weak. Buzz! Above the second body's head, the Tai Chi pattern shone and turned into two yin-yang fish swords, slashing at Prince Blood Prison. Prince Blood Prison was terrified, and he frantically waved the blood flag to resist. The yin-yang fish swords turned into two sword lights, one black and one white. They cut through the void and slashed at the blood flag. The blood light of the blood flag was directly broken. The yin-yang fish sword slashed through the blood flag, and the power of the blood flag was almost destroyed. Kill! Lu Ming shouted. This time he performed the chaotic flipping sky seal with all his strength. A huge, chaotic flipping sky seal formed to kill Prince Blood Prison. No, no! Prince Blood Prison screamed in horror. He was already severely injured, and his aura was weak. Now that the blood flag was destroyed, and Lu Ming performed the chaotic flipping sky seal with all his strength, he had a feeling that he would be killed by this move. Lu Ming, you can't kill me. This is Darkwater City. You can't fight here. Senior, help me. Young Master Blood Prison roared like a madman, trying to get the local Saint Realm powerhouses of Darkwater City to intervene. Before he attacked, he was afraid that the local Saint Realm experts would intervene. Now he desperately hoped that the local Saint Realm experts would intervene. Unfortunately, he was disappointed. There was no movement at all. The local Saint Realm experts didn't seem to have any intention of intervening. This surprised many people around. In the past, if there was such a big commotion, the local Saint Realm experts would have intervened. But today, there was no movement at all. Die, Lu Ming said coldly. He raised his hands, and the chaotic flipping sky seal exuded a terrifying aura, suppressing Prince Blood Prison. Whoosh! At this moment, a terrifying sword light pierced through the void behind Lu Ming. It crossed a long distance in an instant and stabbed at Lu Ming's back. Chapter 1633. An Assassin from Thousand Killers Manor. A thought appeared in Lu Ming's mind. Moreover, this was an extremely terrifying assassin. He was 10 times more terrifying than any of the Thousand Killers Manor's assassins that Lu Ming had encountered before. This was definitely a sky pride on the same level as young Master Blood Prison and Wan Tianqing. Moreover, he was an assassin. Any other genius on the same level as young Master Blood Prison would be dead for sure. There was no suspense in the fact that they would be killed by this sword. However, Lu Ming wasn't just any ordinary person. During this period of time, no matter where he was, he had always been on guard against Thousand Killers Manor's assassins. It was the same even in the middle of a war. Therefore, the moment the Thousand Killers Manor's assassin attacked, he sensed it. He didn't let Bubble take action because he was on guard against Thousand Killers Manor's assassins. Therefore, when the sword light pierced Lu Ming's body shattered like glass, and Lu Ming's body appeared more than 10 meters away. At the crucial moment, Bubble took action and used the space-time domain to teleport Lu Ming more than 10 meters away while the primal chaos flipping sky seal continued to suppress him. Boom! The primal chaos flipping sky seal struck young Master Blood Prison's body. His body instantly exploded and turned into a ball of bloody light. The bloody light wriggled, trying to escape, but the terrifying power of the primal chaos flipping sky seal was constantly destroying young Master Blood Prison. No! Young Master Blood Prison let out an unwilling scream. Then, the ball of bloody light was completely obliterated and disappeared from the world. Young Master Blood Prison was dead. Whoosh! At this moment, another sword gleam pierced toward Lu Ming. Its speed was astonishingly fast, and its power was shocking. However, Lu Ming was already on guard. Boom! Lu Ming punched out, bombarding the sword light. The sword light shook, and a black-clothed man appeared. He borrowed the power of Lu Ming's punch to retreat rapidly. The second attack was blocked by Lu Ming. The assassin knew that the assassination had failed and wanted to retreat. Stay here. Lu Ming kicked the black dragon spear. The black dragon spear turned into a black lightning and shot towards the opponent. But Lu Ming used the wind thunder steps and took a step forward. He grabbed a nearby battle sword and slashed out. A 10,000-meter-long sword ray slashed towards the black-clothed man. Whoosh! Whoosh! The speed of the black-robed man was extremely fast. His figure constantly flashed, leaving behind a series of afterimages. First, he avoided the attack of the black dragon spear. Then he slashed out a sword light, which collided with Lu Ming's sword light. However, at this moment, a transparent bubble suddenly appeared around the black-clothed man's body, enveloping him within. His body immediately stiffened. The second body controlled the yin-yang fish sword and slashed at the opponent. The black-clothed assassin's figure suddenly blurred. Then, a shocking sword light burst out and broke the transparent bubble. He wanted to escape, but he was still a step too late. The yin-yang fish sword's black sword slashed his body, almost cutting him in half. Blood splattered in the sky. The black-clothed assassin roared angrily. His body was shrouded in a layer of black fog. His speed suddenly increased, and in a few flashes, he disappeared into the void. The Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassin's movement technique was too powerful. After failing to assassinate, he wanted to escape. Even Lu Ming could not stop him. All of this seemed to take a long time, but in fact it happened in an instant. At this moment, many of the onlookers reacted and gasped. The Blood Prison Prince is dead. God, the Blood Prison Prince was killed by Lu Ming. He died at the hands of a rank 9 Marshal Royal. Unbelievable. Lu Ming is a Jura. He has become stronger again. Also, what is that body? Could it be a clone? But it doesn't look like it. Even the Thousand Slayer Mansion's assassin was injured and retreated. It's too terrifying. The scene was noisy. Many people were discussing excitedly and were shocked. They were shocked by Lu Ming's strength and Lu Ming's methods. In the Drunken Immortal Inn, Prince Tianying could no longer remain calm. He stood in the sky and looked into the distance. At this moment, his face was extremely gloomy. That blood prison is courting death. Huang Ling held a wine cup and walked to Prince Tianying's side. You already knew about Lu Ming's strength? Prince Tianying gritted his teeth. Haha, what do you think? Huang Ling smiled. Prince Tianying's face was as black as charcoal. Obviously, Huang Ling knew that the Blood Prison Prince was no match for Lu Ming. Hence, she acted very indifferent. Humph! Prince Tianying snorted coldly. He waved his sleeves and left. This Lu Ming is a top figure. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said calmly with his hands behind his back. He then left as well. Lu Ming, it seems like you have become stronger again, Huang Ling whispered. Her figure moved and she flew toward Phoenix Palace. Soon, Huang Ling returned to Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming, are you all right? Huang Ling asked. I'm fine. Lu Ming shook his head. Huang Ling, it seems like there's a traitor in your Phoenix Palace. Previously, the Blood Prison Prince's men had been able to enter his room, silently. This was definitely because someone from Phoenix Palace had received them. Otherwise, it would have been impossible. I will investigate this matter. Huang Ling's voice turned cold. Her icy gaze swept across the surrounding Phoenix Palace disciples. The expressions of the Phoenix Palace disciples changed drastically. Lu Ming, don't you think it's strange that the native Saint Realm experts of Darkwater City did not make a move this time? Huang Ling asked again. Indeed. Lu Ming nodded. He also felt that this was a little strange. The two discussed for a while, but could not come to a conclusion. They could only guess that the native Saint Realm experts were not around. However, they had heard that there was more than one Saint Realm expert in Darkwater City. It could not be that all of them were not around. Since they could not figure it out, they did not think too much about it. Huang Ling arranged another residence for Lu Ming, and Lu Ming moved in. The surrounding crowd also dispersed. The news of this battle quickly spread throughout Darkwater City. This battle had greatly increased Lu Ming's reputation. In many people's eyes, Lu Ming was more terrifying than Huang Ling since he was able to kill a genius like the Blood Prison Prince. They finally knew why Huang Ling and Lu Ming had the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. It was because Lu Ming had the strength to do so. The crowd no longer dared to underestimate Lu Ming, who was a rank 9 Marshal Royal. Of course, there was another matter that had a great impact. That was why the native Saint Realm experts did not make a move. This matter was very strange, and there were many different opinions. However, over the next few days, this topic became a hot topic. This was because there had been a few more battles in Darkwater City over the past few days. However, the native Saint Realm experts did not make a move. Many people guessed that the native Saint Realm experts did not care. In other words, they could make a move as they wished in the city. Chapter 1634. In the blink of an eye, 7 days had passed since Lu Ming killed the Bloodhell Prince. In these 7 days, someone finally stepped into Darkwater City with the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and the key. Only the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb were left. At this time, the atmosphere in Darkwater City became more solemn. This was because the geniuses of the other 3 cities had also heard about the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and stepped into Darkwater City. Boom! On the 7th night, there was a shocking sound in Darkwater City. Someone was fighting. Figures rushed into the sky and looked into the distance. Lu Ming also rushed into the sky and watched from afar. Whoosh! Then, Lu Ming saw a young man rush into the sky, trying to escape. It's him! Lu Ming's heart stirred as he recognized this young man. This person was the genius who had the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. He was also a heavenly spiritual body expert who had comprehended the laws. Boom! A large yellow hand suddenly formed and grabbed at the young man. The young man used all his strength to break the hand. In the end, the large yellow hand broke, but the young man vomited blood and was severely injured. Give me the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, and I'll spare your life. A young man in a yellow robe appeared in the sky. His vast aura suppressed the surroundings. Jar of Laws. Lu Ming could tell that this young man was a half-saint who had comprehended the laws. He was also a heavenly spiritual body, an expert on the same level as the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Yi Dongfang. Don't even think about it. The young man roared and tried to break out. The young man in the yellow robe's eyes turned cold. With a wave of his hand, huge stone swords appeared in the sky and slashed at the young man. The difference between the 2nd stage and the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm was huge. The young man was no match for him. In a few moves, a stone sword pierced through his body and almost killed the spiritual deity. Don't kill me. I'll give you the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. In the end, the young man was afraid and handed over the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. The young man in the yellow robe took the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and harumphed coldly. He then stepped into the air and disappeared from Darkwater City. The young man in the yellow robe was unwilling, but there was nothing he could do. In this battle, the native Saint Realm powerhouses still hadn't made a move. Darkwater City is going to be in chaos. Many people sighed. The prodigies of the other 3 cities all came to Darkwater City, and the local Saint Realm experts of Darkwater City did not interfere. Everyone knew that Darkwater City was going to be in chaos. Everybody wanted to enter the Reincarnation Great Emperor's tomb. Everybody wanted the map of the Reincarnation Great Emperor's tomb. Everybody wanted the map and the key of the reincarnation great emperor's tomb. For a time, Darkwater City was filled with undercurrents. Lu Ming and Huang Ling were also somewhat grave. Their residences were very close to each other. Moreover, the two of them had been in seclusion and had not gone anywhere. They were afraid that once the two of them separated, they would be attacked and robbed of the reincarnation monarch's tomb's map and key. On the second night, as expected, another great battle took place. A prodigy who had the map key of the reincarnation monarch's tomb wanted to leave Darkwater City under the cover of the night. He wanted to hide in the dark and only come out when all the keys were gathered. However, as soon as he left Darkwater City, he was surrounded by 3 other prodigies. In the end, he was severely injured and had no choice but to hand over the map and key. As a result, the atmosphere in Darkwater City became even more solemn. Other than the Golden Crow's 10th prince and Yi Dongfang, they were not afraid of the other prodigies who had the map key of the reincarnation monarch's tomb. Their goal was to increase their strength. Otherwise, they would have nothing left if the map key was taken away. A few days later, the last set of map keys still had not appeared. On this day, 2 figures arrived at the Phoenix Palace. Lu Ming and Huang Ling appeared together. Zhao Kuang, Sima Liang, it's you two? What business do you have with my Phoenix Palace? Huang Ling asked. The two of them were Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. Huang Ling, Lu Ming, the two of us are here to form an alliance. Zhao Kuang said, Darkwater City is currently filled with experts and prodigies. The stronger we are, the weaker we are. Why don't we form an alliance and head to the reincarnation monarch's tomb together? Sima Liang said, Oh, form an alliance? Do you have the map and key of the reincarnation monarch's tomb with you? Lu Ming asked. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were startled and said, Of course not. Since you don't have it, why are you forming an alliance with us? Get lost. Lu Ming waved his hand casually and said, The two of them had come up with a good idea. They had nothing and wanted to gain something without risking anything. How could it be that easy? Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang's faces darkened. Lu Ming, the other prodigies in Darkwater City who have the map and key of the reincarnation monarch's tomb, are all looking for experts to form an alliance with to increase their strength. The two of us formed an alliance with you because we think highly of you. How dare you be so arrogant? Lu Ming, don't think that you can be lawless and look down on others just because you killed one Tiancheng and young Master Bloodjail. If 2 or even 3 people like young Master Bloodjail join forces, are you still their match? Sima Liang gritted his teeth and said, Lu Ming has already asked you to get lost. Why are you still here? Huang Ling reprimanded. Good, very good. Then I'll just watch as your map and key are taken away by others. Zhao Kuang flew into a rage. He left behind a few words unhappily and left with Sima Liang. Lu Ming and Huang Ling exchanged glances with each other. Both of them had a serious look in their eyes. Then they returned to their rooms and started cultivating. However, it was too difficult for Lu Ming's main body to increase his strength in a short period of time. It was almost impossible for him to reach the 6th level of the primal chaos flipping sky seal in a short period of time. It was the same for his cultivation. Therefore, Lu Ming kept refining the demon fiend crystals to increase his soul power. In the blink of an eye, another 3 days had passed. Suddenly, Lu Ming's heart moved and a trace of joy appeared on his face. Then he entered the mountain river diagram. Ming Lian's second body sat cross-legged on a mountain peak. The Taiji disc floated above his head, sprinkling down rays of light. A golden spiritual flame flickered between the second body's eyebrows. Suddenly, the spiritual flame surged and several spiritual rings appeared around the second body. On the 9th golden spiritual ring, there were 10 light spots. This meant that Ming Lian's second body had finally ignited the 10th spiritual lamp and reached perfection. This realm was equivalent to the first stage of the half-step saint realm. The next step was to comprehend the laws. Great! Lu Ming was overjoyed. The improvement of his second body would undoubtedly increase his combat strength. It would be of great help to him at this crucial moment. Then, the spiritual rings disappeared and the second body started to consolidate its cultivation. Lu Ming's main body left the mountain river diagram and continued refining the demon fiend crystals. But not long after, Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes and rushed out of the courtyard. Chapter 1635. Boom, 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 boom. A total of 4 terrifying auras shot up like smoke signals toward Phoenix Palace. Then, 4 figures stepped into the air. Every step they took caused the sky to rumble. A huge pressure pressed down on Phoenix Palace. A figure flashed, and Huang Ling appeared beside Lu Ming. Then, the other disciples of Phoenix Palace rushed out. "They are finally here," Huang Ling whispered with a serious expression. The sky prides from the other cities were finally going to attack them. 4 of them came at once. These 4 people were definitely terrifying sky prides. Each of them was at the same level as Prince Blood Prison and Wan Tianqing. Without such combat strength, they would not dare to attack Lu Ming and Huang Ling. The 4 youths, 3 men and 1 woman, stood in a row in front of Huang Ling and Lu Ming. At this moment, the entire Darkwater City was alarmed. Countless people rose into the air and looked over. How terrifying! The 4 experts are going to attack Lu Ming and Huang Ling. It's only a matter of time. The other Sky Prides are looking for experts to form an alliance. Lu Ming and Huang Ling are only 2 people. Naturally, they will be targeted. 4 against 2. Lu Ming and Huang Ling are most likely in danger. They won't be able to keep the map and key. Voices echoed between the heavens and earth. Not far from Phoenix Palace, Xiao Kuang and Sima Liang were also watching. "Humph, Lu Ming, aren't you very arrogant? This time, let's see how you can keep the map and key." Xiao Kuang sneered. "It would be best if Lu Ming and Huang Ling were killed," Sima Liang said with a vicious face. "Huang Ling, Lu Ming, hand over the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb," a youth said in a very straightforward manner. "If you want the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, let's see if you have the ability to do so," Huang Ling said coldly. "Huang Ling, although the vitality of your immortal heavenly phoenix body is strong, you don't stand a chance against the 2 of us. Lu Ming, I know that you killed young Master Blood Prison some time ago. However, if we join forces, are you still a match for us? I advise you not to make a mistake," a young man said coldly. "Let's see if I'm a match for you." Lu Ming spoke in a domineering tone. "Stubborn. Since that's the case, let's attack," a young man shouted and stepped forward to attack Huang Ling. At the same time, the only woman among the 4 also charged towards Huang Ling. The remaining 2 charged towards Lu Ming. 2 against 1. A phoenix cry rang out as the shadow of an immortal heavenly phoenix rushed out from Huang Ling's body. A pair of phoenix wings extended from her back as she bathed in immortal flames. The phoenix wings flapped out, and like 2 divine swords, they slashed at the opponent and began a great battle. However, as soon as they exchanged blows, Huang Ling was at a disadvantage. Neither of the 2 opponents was weaker than her. She could only rely on her immortal heavenly phoenix physique to hold on. As for Lu Ming, he was also engaged in a fierce battle with his opponent. A huge cauldron came crashing down on Lu Ming. At the same time, there was a terrifying flaming sword chi. When the 2 terrifying geniuses joined forces, their power was too strong. Lu Ming's glabella shone as Ming Lian's second body stepped out. A Tai Chi array floated above his head as a Tai Chi array appeared and pressed down on the young man who had slashed out the flaming sword chi. Boom! The flaming sword chi was dispersed. Ming Lian's second body waved his hand and a phoenix cry rang out as the phoenix feather flying swords flew out. This time there were a total of 21 phoenix feather flying swords that formed a sword array. They turned into terrifying sword chi and charged towards the opponent. Back in the Tianfeng Plains, Lu Ming had obtained more than a dozen phoenix feathers. During this period of time, Ming Lian's second body had refined all of them into phoenix feather-flying swords. A total of 21 phoenix feather-flying swords formed a sword array that was extremely powerful. Divine Sword of the Great Sun. The opponent held a flaming sword and slashed out sword chi that was like the great sun. It slashed towards the second body and began a fierce battle with the second body. As for Lu Ming's main body, light spots lit up all over his body. He cast the 10,000 weapons art and sacred weapons appeared one by one. He held a spear in one hand and a sword in the other. He blasted the cauldron and sent it flying. 9 cauldrons suppressed the heavens. The person fighting Lu Ming was a black-robed youth. He had long hair and a mysterious aura. 9 cauldrons floated around him. Lu Ming could not help but think of the divine 9-dragon cauldron. The divine 9-dragon cauldron also had 9 cauldrons that suppressed the dragon vein. The black-robed youth controlled the 9 cauldrons to suppress Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming shouted as he used the divine sword art to attack his opponent. The black-robed youth's body trembled and his attacks slowed down. Lu Ming threw out the spear and sword in his hand. At the same time, he controlled the other sacred weapons to clash with the 9 cauldrons. Clang! Clang! The 9 cauldrons were, without a doubt, sacred weapons. The 9 cauldrons worked together, and their power was even more shocking. In the sky above Phoenix Palace, the sound of metal clashing could be heard. It was like a great bell. The other disciples of Phoenix Palace were unable to interfere at all. Ordinary prodigies would be injured or even killed by the overflowing force the moment they got close to it. Primal chaos! Lu Ming muttered. A primal, chaos-flipping sky seal appeared in each of his palms, and he threw it at his opponent. The primal, chaos-flipping sky seal was as big as a mountain. It pressed down as if it wanted to crush everything. The black-robed youth's pupils contracted rapidly. He gathered a few cauldrons and attacked. Boom! Boom! 2 dull explosions sounded. The opponent's cauldrons were sent flying, and the black-robed youth was forced to retreat. At that moment, a pagoda appeared above Lu Ming's head. Bubbles was inside it. Bubbles helped the second body. Lu Ming's voice rang out. The pagoda flew toward the second body. Kill! Lu Ming roared as he used the divine sword art. 2 more flipping sky seals appeared in his palms and suppressed his opponent. The black-robed youth roared as his body emitted a strange light. The 9 cauldrons vibrated and knocked away many of Lu Ming's sacred weapons. The black-robed youth then fought against the flipping sky seals. Between the 2 of them, it was purely a battle of strength. There was no technique involved. The flipping sky seal and the 9 cauldrons collided continuously. They were like mountains bombarding each other in the air. The entire Darkwater City was shaking. Many of the weaker cultivators were forced to retreat. The sound waves from the collision were too strong. However, Lu Ming used the divine sword art. The black-robed youth was slowly losing to Lu Ming. He was suppressed by Lu Ming and had to retreat after every collision. After more than 10 moves, the black-robed youth had retreated more than 10 miles. 9 seals of the divine gate. Lu Ming suddenly formed a seal with his hands. 9 doors of the divine gate appeared in the sky. They shone brightly and were aimed at the opponent's cauldrons. Lu Ming had cultivated the 9 seals of the divine gate to the peak. He could form 9 doors of the divine gate at once. When the 9 doors of the divine gate were connected, the power of the seal was greatly enhanced. Chapter 1636. How could Lu Ming miss such an opportunity? With a wave of his hands, an incomparably large primal chaos cyclic seal formed and pressed down on the black-clothed youth. The black-clothed youth was shocked. With a roar, a shocking black light erupted from his body. He seemed to have turned into a large cauldron as he struck out with both hands at the primal chaos cyclic seal. Boom! The black-clothed youth's body was like a cannonball as he was sent flying. He coughed out large mouthfuls of blood in the air. His bones were like fried beans, and it was unknown how many of them were broken. 9 cauldrons combine! The black-clothed youth roared, and the black light on his body became even denser. The 9 cauldrons that were sealed by the sealed doors aura surged. They broke through the sealed door's seal and flew towards the black-clothed youth. Then, the 9 cauldrons combined into one. What tenacious vitality! Lu Ming muttered. This youth's combat strength was astonishing. It seemed like he had nurtured a large cauldron in the depths of his body. The power of law was also terrifying. His combat strength was even stronger than Prince Bloodprison's. Lu Ming was infamous for killing Prince Bloodprison and injuring the assassin from Thousand Killers Manor. So this time the one who attacked Lu Ming was undoubtedly the strongest among the 4. The black-clothed youth merged the 9 cauldrons into one and charged into the cauldron. The aura of the cauldron became even more violent as it charged towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming grabbed the black dragon's spear by the side and thrust it out. Clang! The black dragon's spear stabbed into the cauldron, and the black dragon's spear bent. Lu Ming was sent flying by a terrifying force. What a powerful force! Lu Ming's expression turned grave. The black-clothed youth clearly had a special physique that allowed him to fuse with the cauldrons. His entire body was like a cauldron, and the 9 cauldrons were like 9 saint weapons fused together. How powerful was that? Now that the black-clothed youth had fused with the cauldrons, there was nothing he couldn't break. Lu Ming let go of the black dragon spear, allowing the 12 saint weapons to float around him as a form of defense. Lu Ming's true yuan frantically poured into the flowing yuan gloves. At the same time, his 3rd bloodline appeared, and a surge of power poured into Lu Ming's body. Although the Cloud Dragon Valley Master had warned Lu Ming to use the 3rd bloodline as little as possible, Lu Ming should be fine if he used it once in a while and borrowed a small amount of power. The energy of the 3rd bloodline surged into Lu Ming's body, making him even more powerful. There were dragon roars in his body. He cast the hell-suppressing heaven skill and threw a punch. Clang! When the fist landed on the cauldron, a terrifying shockwave burst out. The sound wave spread out at a speed visible to the naked eye. Whoa! The cauldron trembled as it was sent flying by Lu Ming's attack. However, Lu Ming's body also retreated. Again, Lu Ming stepped forward and threw out another punch. The cauldron trembled and continued to charge towards Lu Ming. Clang! 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 Following that, the 2 of them continued to clash, exchanging dozens of blows. At this moment, Ming Lian's second body and Bubbles cooperated to suppress the opponent. Ming Lian's second body used the yin-yang fish sword as the main force, using the yin-yang fish sword as the main force. At the same time, various formations and phoenix feather-flying swords were also very mysterious. With the help of Bubbles' space-time domain, although the opponent was strong, he was restrained in the battle and was completely suppressed by Ming Lian's second body. Whoosh! The yin-yang fish sword slashed, almost cutting the opponent in half, leaving a deep wound with blood flowing out. How can that Lu Ming be so strong? Damn it! Zhao Kuang, who was watching the battle from afar, roared. Even Xia Ding can't do anything to him. Sima Liang said in disbelief. Xia Ding was the black-clothed youth who controlled the 9 cauldrons. Lu Ming's combat strength was beyond his imagination. A person could actually split into 2, and each of them had terrifying combat strength. Xia Ding was an extremely terrifying genius at their level. None of them were a match for Xia Ding. However, Lu Ming alone could fight against Xia Ding while the other Lu Ming could suppress his opponent. Luckily, Huang Ling is about to be defeated. As long as Huang Ling is defeated, the 2 of them will join forces to fight against Lu Ming. No matter how strong he is, he will be defeated. Sima Liang continued. At this moment, Huang Ling was indeed in danger. She seemed to have turned into a flaming phoenix. Flames filled the sky as she unleashed her strength to the extreme. However, she was no match for the two opponents at the same level. There were many injuries on her body. If she didn't have the immortal heavenly phoenix body, she would have been severely injured. Even so, she would be defeated if this continued. I have the immortal heavenly phoenix body, one of the top 10 combat beasts. How can I be defeated? Huang Ling roared like a phoenix. Her eyes were filled with madness, and the flames on her body became even more terrifying as she fought against her opponent. Bang! Her body was penetrated and a big hole appeared. However, she didn't care. Her immortal flame spread and the big hole healed automatically. She was in a frenzy, ignoring her injuries and defense. She only cared about attacking. At this moment, Ming Lian's second body chased after her. Together with Bubble, they unleashed a terrifying cultivation technique. Whoosh! Her opponent's chest was penetrated by the yin-yang fish sword. The terrifying destructive force kept destroying her opponent's spiritual body. She coughed out blood. Come and help me, she shouted. Hold on a little longer. One of the geniuses who was fighting against Huang Ling said. They wanted to defeat Huang Ling in one fell swoop and then deal with Lu Ming. However, Huang Ling's immortal heavenly phoenix body was not just for show. They couldn't take her down in a short time. Damn it! The geniuses who were injured by the second body did not dare to continue fighting and retreated frantically. The four of them were originally from different forces. They decided to join forces to fight for the map and key of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. However, his life was in danger now. How could he fight to the death? Whoosh! He retreated for a while and retreated. Damn it! The other geniuses roared. Kill! Ming Lian's second body rushed towards Huang Ling's battlefield. The yin-yang fish sword slashed at one of the beauties. The pressure on Huang Ling was greatly reduced. She launched a violent attack on one of the geniuses. For a moment, her opponent was at a disadvantage. At this moment, Lu Ming's main body had already exchanged dozens of blows with Xia Ding. Clang! Another earth-shattering explosion was heard. The big cauldron shook violently and retreated frantically. Then, Xia Ding's figure fell out of it. He obviously had to pay a great price to use this move. Now he couldn't hold on any longer. Forget it. Let's go. Xia Ding roared and retreated with the big cauldron, disappearing in the blink of an eye. When the remaining two geniuses saw this, they knew that they had lost the advantage. After paying a price, they also rushed out and disappeared. The four geniuses were defeated by Lu Ming and Huang Ling. Chapter 1637. Lu Ming and Huang Ling were able to defeat four supreme geniuses. Such combat strength was extremely terrifying. As for Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang, they were dumbfounded. Xia Ding and the other three had come aggressively, but were defeated by Lu Ming and Huang Ling in the end. This was something that they had never dreamt of. They were all inferior heaven's spiritual bodies. How could there be such a huge difference in combat strength? Oh no! At this moment, Lu Ming's face changed. Boom! High up in the sky, a huge claw grabbed at Huang Ling. The claw was covered with scales and was extremely ferocious. It emitted a terrifying fluctuation. Ming Lian's second body was the closest to Huang Ling. He immediately controlled the Tai Chi array, and the two yin-yang fish swords slashed at the huge claw. Clang! Clang! The yin-yang fish swords slashed at the claw, and sparks flew in all directions. In the pagoda, Bubble attacked. The void fluctuated and formed a terrifying space blade that slashed at the claw. Huang Ling also attacked. Flames filled the sky, and a flaming phoenix flew out and flew towards the claw. Boom! Boom! The space blade collapsed, and the flaming phoenix was destroyed. Huang Ling's body retreated continuously, and a stream of blood flowed out of her mouth. Chaotic Sky Seal! At this moment, Lu Ming's main body also attacked. He condensed a huge chaotic sky seal and blasted it at the huge claw. Boom! The chaotic sky seal blasted the claw and was directly shattered. However, the claw was finally blocked. It rapidly shrank and retracted from the sky. So powerful! Lu Ming's eyes were extremely solemn. Someone has attacked again. Who is it? Lu Ming and Huang Ling had just fought a big battle. Why is he attacking now? Many people around were shocked and looked up at the sky. Roar! There was a loud roar, and the wind and clouds changed. In the sky, a huge monster slowly appeared. Many people's pupils constricted. Tao Tai! Lu Ming slowly spat out 2 words. The huge monster that appeared in the sky was a Tao Tai. The Tao Tai was also a type of divine beast that was incomparably powerful. According to legends, in ancient times, the Tao Tai could swallow the sun and moon in the sky when it opened its mouth. It was truly terrifying. Tao Tai's eyes were like 2 small suns as he stared at Lu Ming and Huang Ling. He said in a cold and harsh voice, "Hand over the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb, and I will spare your lives." It was obvious that Tao Tai's goal was the same as Xiaoding and the others. They were after the map and key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Does the Tao Tai clan only know how to take advantage of the situation? Huang Ling said coldly. Nonsense. If you don't hand it over, then die. The Tao Tai said coldly. He stepped into the void, causing the sky to rumble. Huang Ling's undying flame burned fiercely. She stared at the Tao Tai resolutely. Her meaning was clear. Lu Ming's main body and second body stood together, staring at Tao Tai. Kill! The Tao Tai roared and leaped toward Lu Ming and Huang Ling. He stretched out his claws, and there was a terrible whistling sound between heaven and earth. He grabbed toward Lu Ming and the others. The Tai Chi array, disc above Ming Lian's second body, shone brightly, and a Tai Chi diagram suppressed the Tao Tai. Bam! The Tao Chia's claw grabbed the Tai Chi diagram, and the Tai Chi diagram was sent flying. Swoosh! Lu Ming used the 10,000 soldiers art. He held the black dragon spear in his hand and stabbed it toward the Tao Chia's vital point. However, the Tao Chia's other claw hit the long spear. Lu Ming felt an extremely powerful force surging toward him, and his body was sent flying. His chi and blood surged, and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. What terrifying strength! Lu Ming was shocked. His spear pierced the Tao Chia's claw, but it only left a shallow mark on the surface. It did not even pierce through the scales. The Tao Tai was definitely an expert on the same level as the Golden Crow's 10th prince. Its physique was equivalent to an inferior heavenly spiritual body, and its cultivation had reached the 3rd stage of the Sage-to-Be realm, the vessel of the laws. The heavenly spiritual body was already terrifying. Coupled with the vessel of the laws, its physical body was even stronger. Even Lu Ming's 10,000 soldiers' art could not break it. A phoenix cry was heard and Huang Ling attacked, but it was useless. She was sent flying by the Tao Chia's palm. 9 seals of the divine gate! Lu Ming roared and quickly formed seals with his hands. 9 doors of seals were formed and pressed toward the Tao Tai. He wanted to seal the Tao Tai. At the same time, Bubble attacked and used the space-time domain to seal the Tao Tai. Buzz! The Tai Chi array, disc above the second body, vibrated again, and the Tai Chi yin-yang fish pattern appeared again. However, this time it turned into the yin-yang fish sword. 2 terrifying sword lights, one black and one white, slashed toward the Tao Tai. Roar! The Tao Tai let out a shocking roar. Its body glowed, and its 2 claws bombarded the doors of seals. Bam! 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 The 9 doors of seals shook violently and then shattered one by one. Then 2 terrifying beams of light shot out from the Tao Chia's eyes and broke free from Bubble's space-time domain. However, the Tai Chi yin-yang fish sword had already arrived. Clang! Clang! The yin-yang fish sword slashed the Tao Chia's body. Sparks flew, and an ear-piercing sound was heard. However, in the end, it broke through the scales on the Tao Chia's body and left 2 deep sword marks on it. Boom! A huge, chaotic cyclic seal appeared above the Tao Chia's head and pressed down on the Tao Tai. Ah! Die! Die! All of you die! The Taotai was injured by the yin-yang fish sword and was completely enraged. The laws surrounded his body, and he rushed into the sky and bombarded the chaotic, cyclic seal. Boom! The primal, chaos-flipping sky seal let out a terrifying vibration. Then it cracked open and finally collapsed. With a cry, Huang Ling attacked. A battle sword condensed from the undying flame slashed at the Taotia's wound. Immediately, it burned fiercely and emitted the fragrance of barbecued meat. The undying flame could prevent one from dying when used on oneself. However, when used on others, it could kill them. Damn it! Kill! The Taotai roared furiously and opened his mouth. Suddenly, a terrifying devouring force erupted and enveloped Lu Ming's main body, second body, and Huangling. He wanted to swallow them into his mouth and refine them. I know the devouring force, too. Lu Ming roared and clenched his fist. The devouring force erupted and offset the devouring force of the Taotai. The devouring force of the 9 dragons. The Taotai roared. However, although Lu Ming had offset the devouring force and stopped his main body and second body, Huangling could not. She flew directly into the Taotia's mouth. In an instant, she was close to the Taotai. Die for me! The Taotai roared and then spat out a beam of light from his mouth that enveloped Huangling. Huangling roared and attacked continuously. She wanted to rush out of the beam of light, but she could not do so. The beam of light had a terrifying destructive refining force, and it was refining Huangling continuously. Swoosh! Swoosh! Lu Ming's main body and second body moved at the same time. They charged toward the Taotai and wanted to save Huangling. Chapter 1638. This Taotai was too strong, and he had chosen the right time to attack. He had chosen to attack when Lu Ming and Huangling had just fought with Xia Ding and the other 3 experts and were exhausted. At this time, Lu Ming and Huangling were not in their best condition. Extinguish, Huangling. Even if you have the immortal flame, I will extinguish and refine you. Tao Tai's voice rang out, and the light beam in his mouth became stronger. Phoenix cries were constantly heard from the light beam. Huangling's immortal flame was being refined continuously. Chaos! Lu Ming roared and exerted all his strength. A huge, chaotic flipping sky seal was formed and pressed down on Taotai. At the same time, his second body controlled the Tai Chi array disc with all his strength. 2 more yin-yang fish swords appeared and slashed at Taotai. Taotai shot out 2 more light beams from his eyes and bombarded the yin-yang fish swords, blocking them. However, he could not resist the chaotic flipping sky seal, and it smashed heavily on Taotai's body. The Taotai let out a muffled groan as his body shook. He had actually managed to withstand the primal, chaos flipping sky seal. However, it was clear that the Taotai wasn't feeling any better. A part of his back had caved in. That piece of bone had been shattered by the primal chaos flipping sky seal. Now the 2 wounds caused by the yin-yang fish swords were spurting out blood. Roar! Damn it! You deserve to die. When I refine Huangling, it will be your death. Taotai roared angrily. Today he had been injured by Lu Ming again and again. Although the injuries were not fatal, it was a great insult to him. He was a stage 3 half-saint, but he had been injured by Lu Ming again and again. It was unforgivable. Taotai's physical body is really abnormal. Lu Ming felt helpless. If a stage 2 half-saint expert was hit by Lu Ming's chaotic flipping sky seal, he would probably be smashed to death directly. However, Taotai was only slightly injured. At this time, Huangling's immortal flame was getting weaker and weaker, as if it would be refined at any time. What should I do? Lu Ming's brows were tightly knitted together. After the continuous battles, he did not have much true yuan left in his body. It would be difficult for him to use the primal chaos flipping sky seal again. Even if he did, the primal chaos flipping sky seal might not work. Lu Ming became a little anxious. His cultivation was still too weak, only at the 9th layer martial dominator realm. If his cultivation could reach the first stage of the half-saint realm and comprehend the ultimate chaotic realm, his power would definitely skyrocket. At that time, his chaotic sky-flipping seal would at least be able to severely injure the Tao Tai. However, his current cultivation was only at the peak of the 9th level of the martial royal realm. It was impossible for him to reach the half-saint level in such a short time. There was a huge barrier between the 9th layer of the martial royal realm and the half-saint realm. It was not easy to break through. Ha ha ha! Lu Ming and Huang Ling are finally going to be defeated and killed by Tao Tai. Not far away, Zhao Kuang laughed crazily. Seeing that Lu Ming and Huang Ling were about to be defeated, he felt extremely happy. It is impossible for them to be a match for Tao Tai. The outcome is already decided, Sima Liang coldly said. The surrounding people shook their heads and sighed. Tao Tai was a genius on the same level as the Golden Crow's 10th prince. Among the geniuses who had entered the 100-tribe battlefield, Tao Tai was almost at the top. Huang Ling and Lu Ming did not stand a chance. Moreover, they had just fought a fierce battle and were no match for Tao Tai. Chirp! At that moment, the cry of a phoenix resounded through the heavens and earth. Huang Ling, who was already extremely weak, suddenly exuded a strong aura, and the undying flame burned fiercely. Huang Ling had almost turned into an undying phoenix. She spread her wings and rushed out of Tao Tai's light beam. Her wings were like knives and slashed at Tao Tai. Tao Tai roared and slashed out with his claws. Boom! Boom! 2 loud explosions were heard as Huang Ling and Tao Tai's figures were knocked back. You have broken through the vessel of the law. Tao Tai roared. Kill! Huang Ling roared. She spread her wings and charged at Tao Tai. I would like to see how powerful the undying flame is. Tao Tai roared and charged at Huang Ling. Boom! Boom! It was as if a phoenix and Tao Tai were fighting fiercely in the sky. It was hard to tell who would emerge victorious. She has broken through. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. At the crucial moment, at the critical juncture of life and death, Huang Ling had broken through her limits and reached the 3rd stage of the sage-to-be vessel of the law. After reaching the 3rd stage, Huang Ling's combat strength had increased tremendously. She stood at the same level as Tao Tai and did not fear Tao Tai. As expected of the undying heavenly phoenix body, one of the top 10 battle beasts, Lu Ming exclaimed. He realized that Huang Ling had the same characteristics as him. In times of danger, it was easier for her to stimulate her potential and break through her limits. Damn it! How could this be? Damn it! Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were very happy a moment ago. Now, their faces were extremely gloomy. The battle between Huang Ling and Tao Tai was extremely intense. Lu Ming did not intervene. In the blink of an eye, the 2 sides had exchanged more than 100 moves, but the outcome was still undecided. Huang Ling, I will spare you this time. We will fight another day. In the end, Tao Tai turned around and left after uttering these words. He knew that since Huang Ling had broken through, it was no longer possible for him to snatch the map key from Huang Ling and Lu Ming. He could only retreat. Huang Ling did not chase after him. She was not confident that she could kill Tao Tai. If the battle continued, both sides would suffer great losses, and the others would benefit from it. The undying flames were extinguished, and Huang Ling returned to her original appearance. Why are you still here? Huang Ling glanced at the surroundings, especially at Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang. Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang were startled. They immediately turned around and left. The others did the same. Now that Huang Ling had broken through and reached the 3rd stage of the sage-to-be realm, it was not too difficult for her to kill ordinary geniuses. In the blink of an eye, the crowd dispersed. Huang Ling, congratulations on your breakthrough. Lu Ming walked toward Huang Ling and said with a smile. Huang Ling's breakthrough had made him feel more relaxed, now that Huang Ling had broken through. In addition to the strength that he had displayed today, he believed that no one would dare to target them in the future. Lu Ming, I have to thank you. If it weren't for you restraining Tao Tai, I might not have had the chance to break through. Huang Ling said. Previously, Lu Ming had attacked Tao Tai consecutively, injuring it. This had distracted Tao Tai. Otherwise, if Tao Tai had gone all out to refine her, she would have been refined before she could break through. If one wanted to stimulate one's potential and break through one's limits in a crisis, it was usually accompanied by danger. If one was not careful, one would die. Then, Huang Ling ordered the people of Phoenix Palace to clean up the place. After all, Phoenix Palace was in a mess after the battle. Lu Ming and Huang Ling returned to their rooms. Huang Ling had just broken through and needed to consolidate her cultivation. Lu Ming needed to recover. After this battle, Lu Ming and Huang Ling became famous. As expected, no one dared to target them. However, the battle in Darkwater City became even more intense. Chapter 1639. In Darkwater City, the various outstanding talents formed alliances, forming factions centered around the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's map and key. After more than 10 days, the situation slowly calmed down. At this moment, the Golden Crow 10th Prince sent a voice transmission to Lu Ming and Huang Ling, saying that the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's key and map had been gathered. He invited them to the Golden Crow Hall to merge with the map and head to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Are they finally gathered? Lu Ming ended his cultivation, and a sharp light flashed in his eyes. He flew to the Golden Crow Hall with Huang Ling. Those who control the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's key and map are all gathered at the Golden Crow Hall. Could it be that they have gathered the map? Let's go and take a look. Many people in Darkwater City flew to the Golden Crow Hall. Soon, Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived at the Golden Crow Hall. This time, they did not meet at the plaza. When Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived, the Golden Crow tribespeople welcomed them to a courtyard inside the Golden Crow Hall. Those outstanding talents who did not have the map and key could only wait outside the Golden Crow Hall. When Lu Ming and Huang Ling arrived, they discovered that many people were already there. Wild Thunder Yi Dongfang stood alone with his hands behind his back. There was also a yellow-robed youth. This person had snatched the map and key from another person. He was also an outstanding talent on par with the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Yi Dongfang. There were also a few people with unfathomable auras. They were also outstanding talents on par with the Golden Crow 10th Prince. Xiao Qin had not seen them before. Clearly, they came from other cities. There were also a few groups of people with larger numbers. The smaller groups had 4 or 5 people, while the larger groups had 7 or 8 people. Lu Ming even saw Zhao Kuang and Sima Liang in this group. These people had weaker cultivations, on par with the Blood Prison Prince. Hence, most of them formed alliances. 5 or 6 people worked together to control the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb's key and map. Following that, a few more groups of people arrived. Each group had more than 4 or 5 people. One group had 7 people. Lu Ming recognized a few of them. They were Xiading and the other 3 who wanted to snatch Lu Ming and Huang Ling. Xiading and the other 3 looked at Lu Ming and Huang Ling with fear in their eyes. As for the other group of people, there were also 6 people. One of them wore black scale armor, and his cold gaze was fixed on Lu Ming. Killing intent constantly flashed in his eyes. Tao Tai! Lu Ming moved. Through his aura, Lu Ming could tell at a glance that this scaled youth was Tao Tai. It seemed that the Tao Tai had also found a group of people to cooperate with and planned to enter the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb together. All right, the people with the 10 sets of keys and the map of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb are all here. But before we gather the maps, I want to emphasize one point. Those who have the map and the keys can bring whoever they want with them. But now we have to confirm the candidates. When we depart later, we can't add more people. Brother Yi, Brother Shi, Saintess Huang Ling, do you have any objections? The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow said. However, he was looking at Yi Dongfang, Huang Ling, the yellow-robed young man, the Tao Tai, and the others who were at the same level as him. Let's do it. I have no objections. Yi Dongfang, the yellow-robed young man, and the others all nodded. The others didn't say anything either. Those who were supposed to depart with them were all here. This group of people were the top prodigies. Each of them was a heavenly spiritual body. As for those with earthly spiritual bodies, they wouldn't be of much use to them. Even if those with earthly spiritual bodies reached the third stage of the half-saint realm, they would probably not be a match for anyone present. All right, since that's the case, take out the maps now, the 10th prince of the Golden Crow said. Then he took out 2 jade talismans and infused them with true essence. The jade talismans glowed and 2 maps floated in the air. Then the others took out jade talismans and infused their true essence. Lu Ming did the same. The maps floated in the air and pieced together. There were a total of 10 regions, pieced together to form a complete map. At this moment, the map emitted a resplendent light. A spot of light appeared on the map. It was incomparably bright. That's where the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb is. Many people's eyes lit up as they hurriedly memorized the map. This is the northern part of the 100-tribe battlefield, where the Undying Mountain is. Yi Dongfang said. I didn't expect it to be there. Let's go. The 10th prince of the Golden Crow said. Then they put away their jade talismans and soared into the air, flying north. They've come out. They must know the location of the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. There was a large number of people waiting outside the Golden Crow Hall. When they saw Lu Ming and the others come out, there was an uproar. Let's go. Follow them. Maybe we can enter the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb and obtain opportunities. Yes, follow them. A large group of people soared into the air and followed behind Lu Ming and the others. Those without the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb key and map scram. Otherwise die. The 10th prince of the Golden Crow's eyes emitted a resplendent golden light as he scanned the surroundings. At the same time, Yi Dongfang, Tao Tai, and the others also scanned the surroundings with unfriendly gazes. You're too domineering. It's our freedom to go wherever we want. Are you going to interfere with where we want to go? Yes, you go your way and we go ours. We have nothing to do with each other. Someone among those people shouted. How stubborn. Die. The 10th prince of the Golden Crow suddenly shouted. His body emitted a terrifying sun flame as he turned into a ray of golden light and charged out. Poof! 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 The 10th prince of the Golden Crow's claws turned into the claws of the Golden Crow. Claw shadows filled the sky, and no one could withstand this attack. Those who were hit by the claw shadows would be engulfed in golden flames and turned into ashes in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, more than a dozen youths were killed and their bodies and souls were destroyed. The rest of the people turned pale with fright and frantically retreated. They looked at the 10th prince of the Golden Crow with fear in their eyes. If you follow me again, I'll kill you, the 10th prince of the Golden Crow said coldly. This time, no one dared to follow him. Although there were many people, their combat strength was too weak compared to the 10th prince of the Golden Crow. Once they attacked, they would be slaughtered. Moreover, there were more experts who had not attacked yet. Once they attacked, they would really be slaughtered. Although they were unwilling, they could only watch as Lu Ming and the others left. They were not strong enough. In the martial world, the weak were prey to the strong. Without strength, they could not take the opportunity, even if it was placed in front of them. Lu Ming and the others headed north. According to the instructions on the map, they flew for 2 days and arrived at a dead land. It was a wasteland. As far as the eye could see, the wasteland was covered with white bones. However, these white bones were weathered and did not have any spirituality. The entire wasteland was filled with a faint aura of death. Obviously, this place was a battlefield a long time ago. There was a majestic mountain in front of the wasteland. It was particularly eye-catching in the flat wasteland. Chapter 1640. Swoosh! Swoosh! They flew toward the mountain. Swoosh! Suddenly, a saber light tore through the air and slashed toward one of the geniuses. Boom! That genius struck out with his palm and destroyed the saber light. But in the next moment, the ground of the dead silent wilderness exploded. Many figures rushed out from the ground and stood in front of them. There were all kinds of figures. Some were in the shape of demonic beasts, and some were in the shape of humans. Some of them were in the shape of humans. They wore armor and held swords and sabers in their hands. But they had one thing in common. They exuded a strong death chi. It's the undead tribe. Someone shouted, "Kill! Kill these humans!" An undead wearing battle armor and holding a battle sword, like a black warrior, waved his battle sword and gave the order, "Roar! Kill!" A large number of undead tribe members rushed toward Lu Ming and the others. There were at least 1,000 of them, and they were all LV7 Martial Royal Realm and above. All kinds of attacks rushed toward Lu Ming and the others. Kill! The 10th Golden Crow Prince turned into a 3-legged golden crow. The flames of the sun burned fiercely. When he rushed past, more than 10 undead tribe members were burned to ashes in the flames. Wild thunder, Yi Dongfang clenched his fist and lightning filled the sky. Every time the lightning swept past, an undead tribe member would be killed. Tao Tai turned into his true form and roared. A destructive light shot out from his mouth and destroyed a large number of undead tribe members. The attacks of such a genius were earth-shattering and shocking. Large numbers of undead tribe members were destroyed. At the same time, the others attacked as well. All kinds of attacking techniques were used to kill the undead clan members. But there were too many undead tribe members. More undead tribe members rushed out from the ground, and they were getting stronger. Roar! A huge white skeleton in the shape of a tiger let out a loud roar, causing the space to tremble as it pounced toward the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The white-boned tiger exuded the aura of the 3rd stage of the half-saint realm, the Jar of Laws. It was extremely powerful, but it was still defeated by the 10th Golden Crow Prince in one move. At the same level, a heavenly spiritual body could easily kill those who were not. Under the ground, the undead clan kept rushing out. Many of them were at the half-saint realm, but it was still difficult to stop them. They kept pushing toward the majestic mountain. Lu Ming punched out continuously with his fists. The power of his fists crossed the void and killed 2 undeads of the 2nd stage of the half-saint realm. Boom! At this moment, a terrifying aura suddenly erupted from the ground. A figure wearing ancient battle armor and holding a spear appeared in the air. Saint Realm Undead Clan. Many people's expressions changed. This undead was wearing ancient armor and holding a long spear. He was a Saint Realm undead, and his body radiated with terrifying saintly might. So what if you're in the Saint Realm? I'll still kill him. The Golden Crow 10th Prince spoke in an extremely domineering manner. With their combat strength, they were not afraid of ordinary Saint Realm experts. However, the Saint Realm undead didn't attack. Instead, he glanced coldly at Lu Ming and the others and said in a dry voice, "Retreat!" Then the frenzied undead retreated like the tide, sinking into the ground and disappearing. His Saint Realm undead also sank into the ground and disappeared. He retreated. Someone was stunned. A Saint Realm expert will only be killed if he doesn't retreat. Of course, he has to retreat. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said confidently. Everyone continued to move forward. Then, as expected, no one stopped them. They arrived in front of the mountain. The mountain was dark and surrounded by death chi. Not a single blade of grass grew on it. Is this the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? I've been here before, but I didn't find anything unusual. Yi Dongfang frowned. This mountain looked like an ordinary mountain. There was nothing unusual about it, and there was no entrance to it either. Then, everyone flew around the mountain, but didn't find any entrance. Everyone frowned. Was the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb fake? Let's take a look at the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. What do you think? Someone suggested. Okay. The others nodded and took out the key to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. Buzz. When everyone took out the keys, a shocking scene appeared. The 10 keys vibrated and emitted a bright light. They flew out of everyone's hands and continued to fly toward the mountain. Then they floated at the top of the mountain and rapidly grew in size. Each key was 10,000 feet tall. Then the 10 keys merged and turned into a heaven-piercing halberd. Boom! The heaven-piercing halberd struck the mountain. Rumble! The halberd struck, and the majestic mountain split into two. A deep canyon appeared in the middle. It looked like a passageway. The halberd flew into the depths of the canyon and disappeared. Is this the passageway to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? Some people's eyes lit up. It must be. Ha ha! The Reincarnation Emperor's tomb has finally appeared. Someone laughed loudly. However, in the next moment, the scene suddenly fell silent. Everyone's bodies flashed, and they distanced themselves from the others. They were wary. Now that the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb had appeared, they would become competitors. Naturally, they had to be wary of each other. The 10th Golden Crow Prince sneered. He stepped into the air and flew towards the valley. Let's go! The others hurriedly flew toward the canyon as well. However, when they reached the canyon, their eyes narrowed. The majestic mountain had been split into two. Logically speaking, the other side of the canyon should be the other side of the mountain. However, that was not the case. In the depths of the canyon, there was a passageway that directly passed through space and led to an unknown place. When everyone arrived at the entrance of the passageway, the 10th Golden Crow Prince was the first to step into the passageway. When he stepped into the passageway, his expression changed slightly, and he continued to move forward. The others also entered the passageway. What a heavy pressure. There's a no-fly zone here. It's difficult to fly. As soon as they entered the passageway, someone said solemnly, Lu Ming and Huang Ling also stepped into the passageway. Immediately, they felt a strong pressure on their bodies. The pressure was as heavy as a mountain. It was impossible to fly there. They could only move forward step by step. Everyone was wary of each other and moved forward step by step. They seemed to have stepped into a space passageway. There was a vast expanse of whiteness around them. They did not know where they were. They moved forward step by step. However, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours had passed. They were still in the passageway. There seemed to be no end to the passageway. Why is it so long? When will we reach the end? Is the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb really in front? No matter what, I must reach the end. Chapter 1641. Time passed slowly. 1 hour after another passed. They had walked for a full day, but they were still in the tunnel. It was as if the tunnel had no end. However, no one would give up at this point. Everyone continued to move forward. Soon, 10 days had passed. They were still moving forward in the tunnel. At this point, many people frowned. No matter how patient they were, they could not help but feel anxious. Was this tunnel really leading to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? However, since they had come this far, they could no longer retreat. They could only continue to move forward. Soon, another 5 days had passed. We can see the end. Suddenly, someone shouted excitedly. The tunnel was finally coming to an end. From afar, it seemed to be a dark place. Everyone let out a long breath. They had walked for half a month in an empty tunnel. Most importantly, they did not know how long it would take. It was really a test of their patience. Fortunately, they were all peerless geniuses. Moreover, they dared to come to the 100-tribe battlefield to train. They were outstanding in all aspects. Naturally, they did not lack patience. That was why they could persevere until now. Let's go! Immediately, everyone became spirited and began to speed up. They rushed forward, afraid that they would be slower than others and the opportunity would be taken away by others. Lu Ming and Huang Ling also sped up. Soon, they rushed out of the tunnel and stepped into a dark place. As soon as they rushed out of the tunnel, their bodies felt lighter. The pressure disappeared and they regained the ability to fly. However, after everyone rushed out of the tunnel, They stood in the air and looked in front of them in shock. Tombs! All they saw were tombs. They were densely packed, and there were countless of them. At a glance, there was no end to them. These tombs were of different sizes. Some were just mounds, while others were as big as mountains. How can this be? Why are there so many tombs? Isn't this the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb? Someone asked in confusion. There were so many tombs. Could it be that the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb was among them and they had to search for it one by one? Those tombs might have buried important people, and there might be treasures inside. Someone said in a low voice, causing everyone's eyes to light up. That's right. Those who could be buried here must have a powerful background. They might even have treasures. With so many tombs here, wouldn't they be rich? Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Immediately they moved. Figures rushed out one after another, rushing towards those tombs. They were searching for a target. Each of them found a grave and rushed over. Be careful! Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Huang Ling. He had a feeling that things were not that simple. The two of them carefully flew forward and entered the area of the tomb. However, when they approached the tombs closest to them began to shine. Then, one figure after another emerged from the tombs. Kill! Kill! There were men and women, old and young, and many of them weren't even humans. But they all roared and charged at Lu Ming's group. Their terrifying power was shocking. Puff! One of the geniuses was careless, and a spear light pierced through his body. If he hadn't hurriedly retreated, he would have died. Whoosh! A terrifying sword light pierced towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming punched out and collided with the sword light. With a clang, the sword light was sent flying. Lu Ming felt his fist go numb. What a terrifying attack! Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. Kill, kill, kill! The figures that emerged from the tombs constantly roared and charged at them. These figures didn't have physical bodies. They looked like phantoms. The 10th Golden Crow Prince was attacked by a giant bull. He reverted to his original form and fought with the giant bull. His combat strength was shocking, and he tore the giant bull into pieces. But surprisingly, the giant bull didn't die. It reformed and attacked the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The others also encountered the same situation. Even if they managed to defeat the phantoms would recondense and reappear. Whoosh! Whoosh! The one that attacked Lu Ming was a human figure. It looked like an old man. Sword light constantly bloomed and shrouded Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming used the 10,000 weapon art. With a black dragon spear in his hand, he stabbed out spear light that collided with the sword light. After exchanging dozens of blows, Lu Ming shattered the figure with one blow of his spear. However, the figure condensed again immediately. These are formed by the immortal battle intent of the experts after they died. There must be peerless experts buried under these tombs. Someone said, "Let me break it open." Zhao Kuang roared and repelled the figure that attacked him. Then he attacked a tomb on the side. Boom! The terrifying attack landed on the great tomb. But it didn't budge at all. It wasn't damaged at all. But at this moment, a shocking scene appeared. Above the tomb, rays of light appeared and directly entangled Zhao Kuang. Zhao Kuang struggled frantically, but it was useless. Then, with a bang, one of his arms exploded. "Ah, help me!" Zhao Kuang screamed in horror. But before his voice fell, his body exploded with a bang. Blood splattered on the tomb, and his body and soul were destroyed. Hiss! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. A powerful genius had died, just like that, all because he had attacked the great tomb. These tombs have terrifying power of laws. As long as you attack the tombs, you will be attacked by the laws. Yi Dongfang said with a solemn expression. That's right. The laws of the tombs are invincible. Once you get entangled, only death awaits you. Someone else said. Many people felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, Zhao Kuang attacked the tomb first. Otherwise, they would be the ones to die, especially Sima Liang. He had been with Zhao Kuang and almost attacked just now, But Zhao Kuang was one step faster. He saw the abnormality of the tomb and stopped his attack, dodging the calamity. It seemed that the tomb here couldn't be attacked at all. Attacking would only lead to death. Maybe only the tomb of the Reincarnation Emperor could be broken? Everyone thought. Then they blocked the attacks of the illusory figures and searched everywhere to see if they could find the tomb. But after searching for a long time, they still couldn't find the tomb. And if this continued, it would be very disadvantageous for them. Their true essence would be exhausted. There's a path ahead. Keep going forward. Maybe the tomb is in front of that path. Someone said. Many people nodded. They had seen that path. However, on both sides of that path, there were two exceptionally huge tombs that were far above the other tombs. This made many people wary and didn't rashly go up. If you guys don't go, I'll go. Tao Tai said and rushed toward that path. Buzz! Buzz! The two exceptionally huge tombs shone, and two figures appeared. A true dragon and a phoenix, emitting a terrifying aura. Chapter 1642. Roar! The true dragon phantom roared and charged at Tao Tai. Its huge dragon claw slashed down at Tao Tai. Tao Tai roared and transformed into his true form. He also slashed out with his claw. However, Tao Tai's body shook violently and was sent flying by the true dragon phantom's claw. He retreated a dozen steps and spat out a mouthful of blood. The Tao Tai was injured by the true dragon's shadow in just one move. It was truly shocking. Tao Tai's combat strength was definitely at the top among them. If he used his full strength, he could definitely contend with a Saint Realm expert. However, he was no match for them and was injured in one move. Chirp! The phoenix cried out and charged at Tao Tai. Tao Tai was so frightened that he retreated and did not dare to fight. The true dragon and phoenix phantoms flew above their respective tombs and did not chase after him. He's so powerful. How can we pass through? He's definitely stronger than an ordinary Saint Realm expert. We're no match for him alone. Many people had ugly expressions. They had worked so hard to get here. Were they going to stop here? Everyone, if we want to pass through this path, we have to join forces. Let's join forces and charge through. Otherwise, no one can pass alone. Huang Ling spoke. She joined forces with Lu Ming, defeated a shadow, and stepped forward. That's right. We have to join forces now. The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow said. Okay, I agree. I agree too. The others said. They were wary of each other earlier, but now they had to join forces again. If they did not join forces, they would have to stop here. Everyone defeated the phantoms and gathered at the path. After a while, everyone gathered together. Let's charge together. Whoosh! 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 There were more than 40 people rushing towards the intersection. There were more than 40 people, and they were all sky prides with heavenly spiritual bodies. They came from different emperor-level forces. The true dragon roared, and the phoenix cried out as they charged at the crowd. Kill! More than 40 prodigies attacked together. All kinds of lights burst out and gathered together. It was extremely terrifying. All kinds of offensive techniques collided with the true dragon and phoenix phantoms. They were unstoppable and destroyed the true dragon and phoenix phantoms, drowning them. Bam! Bam! The true dragon and phoenix phantoms collapsed. This is our chance. Charge! The geniuses made use of this opportunity to rush toward the entrance. In the blink of an eye, more than 40 of them had passed through the two great tombs. The phantoms of the true dragon and phoenix immediately reformed, but they didn't continue to attack them. Instead, they roared and flew into the great tomb, disappearing from sight. Just a wisp of immortal fighting has reached the Saint Realm. I wonder how terrifying he was when he was alive. Could it be that he had reached the Emperor Realm? Is there an Emperor-level true dragon buried in this tomb? Lu Ming looked at the great tomb, a fiery light flashing in his eyes. If he could obtain an Emperor-level true dragon skeleton and refine it, what level would his spiritual body evolve to? Would it evolve into a superior heavenly spiritual body? Of course, he was only thinking about it. The great tomb was filled with terrifying law energy. Earlier, Zhao Kuang had suffered the same fate. He naturally wouldn't dare to attack the great tomb. Everyone let out a long sigh of relief. Then, they followed the path forward. Not long after, a river blocked his path. The strange thing was that the river water was yellow. It looked like the legendary Yellow Spring River of Hell. Is this really the Yellow Spring River? Suddenly, someone spoke with a trembling voice. That was because there was a stone tablet there. Everyone looked at the stone tablet and saw 2 words written on it. Yellow Spring. Everyone looked at each other and saw shock and fear in each other's eyes. According to ancient legends, there was a netherworld hell. There was a river in hell that traversed hell called the Yellow Spring. The Yellow Spring couldn't be crossed because any living thing that entered the Yellow Spring would be corroded by the water and become a part of the Yellow Spring. However, all of this was just a legend. No one had ever seen it, not even an emperor-level expert. Could there really be a Yellow Spring and a netherworld hell in this world? Even the 10th Golden Crow Prince and Tao Tai, who were arrogant and unruly, had grave expressions. No one dared to try to cross the Yellow Spring. If they tried to cross it like the legendary Yellow Spring, they would be courting death. "There's a bridge over there." Someone pointed ahead and shouted. Everyone looked over and saw that there was indeed a bridge up ahead. They walked along the shore of the Yellow Spring. When they got closer, they realized that the bridge was very wide and led to the other side of the Yellow Spring. There were 3 words carved on the bridge. Bridge of Helplessness. Hiss, hiss, hiss. The sound of people sucking in a breath of cold air was heard, and everyone felt a chill in their hearts. According to legend, there was a bridge of helplessness above the Yellow Spring. The only way to cross the Yellow Spring was to cross the bridge of helplessness. They didn't expect there to be a bridge of helplessness. The Yellow Spring, the bridge of helplessness, everything was as the legend said. Could this be the netherworld hell? Even though they were all geniuses from emperor-level factions and had seen a lot, they still felt a chill in their bodies. According to legend, there's a mangpo on the bridge of helplessness. Anyone who crosses the bridge must drink the mangpo's soup. After drinking it, they will forget everything. Could there be a mangpo on the bridge of helplessness? Someone said with a trembling voice. Humph, all of this is just an illusion. Someone deliberately set it up. If there really is a Yellow Spring, why would it appear here? The 10th Golden Crow Prince snorted coldly. His body was surrounded by golden divine fire of the great sun. He stepped onto the bridge of helplessness and walked toward the other side. That's right. This should have been set up according to the legend when someone buried the reincarnation emperor. It can't be the real Yellow Spring. How can it stop me? Then, someone else said and stepped onto the bridge of helplessness. Huang Ling, let's go too. Lu Ming said. Huang Ling nodded, and the 2 of them stepped onto the bridge of helplessness side by side. When the others saw this, they also followed. Although they didn't believe that it was real, they were still cautious and kept their guard up. Ancient heroic spirits, where do their souls go? Suddenly a voice sounded. No one knew where it came from, but it sounded in everyone's ears. Who is it? Someone cried out in alarm. Ancient heroic spirits, where do their souls go? The voice continued to sound. It seemed to be filled with helplessness and sighs. Everyone continued to move forward. The voice continued to sound. However, that was the only sentence that was repeated over and over again. Everyone held their breaths and focused. They ignored the voice and continued to move forward. Soon, they were about to cross the bridge of helplessness. However, at that moment, everyone stopped. That was because there was a figure at the head of the bridge of helplessness. It was an old woman. The old woman was very old. Her back was hunched, and she wore a loose black robe. Her hair was white, and the wrinkles on her face piled up like a mountain. She was holding a bowl in her hand. In the bowl was a milky white liquid. Mengpa. Chapter 1643. Gulp. Many people swallowed their saliva when they thought of the name Mengpa. Mengpa was really on the bridge of helplessness. Some people's backs were already drenched in cold sweat. Yellow Spring, Bridge of Helplessness, Mengpa. Everything was in line with the legend. Senior, who are you? The 10th Golden Crow Prince was bathed in the divine fire of the great sun. He cupped his fists at the old woman. The old woman smiled and glanced at the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The Bridge of Helplessness on the Yellow Spring River. Of course, I'm Mengpa. It's really Mengpa? Many people's hearts trembled. This was the reincarnation, Thearka's tomb. Why would there be the Bridge of Helplessness and Mengpa? Could this really lead to hell? Senior, is that reincarnation? Lu Ming suddenly asked. There was no path in front of the Bridge of Helplessness. There was only a pitch-black whirlpool. That's right. That's reincarnation. If you drink Mengpo's soup and forget your past life, you can enter reincarnation. Mengpa raised the bowl in her hand. Reincarnation. Is that the tomb of the reincarnation, Tharch? Someone asked. Mengpa smiled and said, That's right. Ha ha ha. It's indeed the reincarnation, Thearka's tomb. What Yellow Spring helplessness. It's all fake. Reincarnation, Thearka's tomb. I'm going to meditate. The 10th Golden Crow Prince laughed and strode forward. But Mengpa blocked him and said, Young man, if you want to enter reincarnation, you must drink Mengpo's soup and forget your past life. Only then can you enter reincarnation. Get lost. No one can make me forget my past life. The 10th Golden Crow Prince was extremely domineering. He threw out a palm, and the terrifying divine fire of the great sun blasted toward Mengpa. But Mengpa waved her hand gently, and the divine fire of the 10th Golden Crow Prince was extinguished. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's eyes narrowed. He transformed into his three-legged golden crow form. His body was covered in terrifying flames like the sun. He flapped his wings and wanted to rush past Mengpa and enter the pitch-black whirlpool. Young man, you're too impulsive, Mengpa muttered. She extended a withered hand and grabbed at the Golden Crow 10th Prince. The shriveled claw rapidly expanded into the size of a mountain and grabbed at the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The Golden Crow 10th Prince seemed to be frozen in place. He couldn't move at all as he was grabbed by the withered claw. Damn it! Attack! Let's attack together! The 10th Golden Crow Prince roared. Whoosh! A figure rapidly rushed forward, wanting to take advantage of this opportunity to rush over. This was also a terrifying youth whose strength was not weaker than the Golden Crow 10th Prince. However, a ribbon flew out from Mengpo's sleeve and wrapped around the young man. The others were shocked. Those who wanted to make use of this opportunity to make a move stopped. The other party was too terrifying. Even someone as strong as the Golden Crow 10th Prince could not resist at all and was directly taken down. The same happened to the other person. The two struggled with all their might, but it was to no avail. Senior, spare my life, spare my life! The Golden Crow 10th Prince was afraid and began to beg for mercy. What are you afraid of? I won't kill you, said Mengpa. She grabbed the 10th Golden Crow Crown Prince and poured the bowl of Mengpo's soup into his mouth. No, the Golden Crow 10th Prince roared. If he drank Grandma Ming's soup and forgot everything, would he still be him? Wasn't that the same as being dead? How could he be willing to drink it? However, his struggle was to no avail. His mouth automatically opened, and the bowl of Mengpo's soup was poured into the 10th Golden Crow Prince's mouth. Then the 10th Golden Crow Prince's eyes were filled with confusion. Go! Enter the cycle of reincarnation. Mengpa swung her hand, and the 10th Golden Crow Prince flew into the pitch-black whirlpool and disappeared. Following that, the crowd saw that the bowl of soup in Mengpo's hand, which had originally been empty, was now refilling itself. Mengpa did the same and poured the bowl of Mengpo's soup into the mouth of another young man before throwing him into the pitch-black whirlpool. Now it's your turn. Come, drink Grandma Ming's soup and enter the cycle of reincarnation. Mengpa looked at Lu Ming and the others. Many people were covered in cold sweat. Senior, I'm not going to the Reincarnation Emperor's tomb. I'm leaving. Someone said, if they lost all their memories after drinking Grandma Meng's soup, what was the point of obtaining the inheritance of the Reincarnation Emperor? Since you're here, there's no reason to retreat. All of you must drink Grandma Meng's soup and enter the cycle of reincarnation. Meng Po's dry voice sounded. No, I'm not going. I'm leaving. A few people shouted and retreated at lightning speed. I said, since you're here, you can't leave. Mengpa said indifferently and reached out to grab the air. Those people who retreated seemed to be frozen in the air and then flew towards Mengpa under the influence of a powerful force. Just like before, Mengpa drank a bowl of Grandma Meng's soup and threw it all into the pitch-black whirlpool. Lu Ming, what should we do? Huang Ling transmitted her voice to Lu Ming. Her face was a little pale. Mengpa is too strong. We can't resist at all. Lu Ming shook his head and said, the 10th Golden Crow Prince and the others were like babies in Meng Po's hands. They couldn't resist at all. Meng Po's strength was definitely beyond their imagination. They didn't have the slightest chance. Even if Lu Ming used all his strength and asked Bubble to help, they wouldn't have the slightest chance of escaping. The difference was too great. Do we really have to drink Grandma Meng's soup and forget our past and present lives? Huang Ling said with a look of reluctance. Huang Ling, do you believe that this is the real Mengpa? Lu Ming didn't answer and asked Huang Ling in return. Huang Ling was stunned and pondered. She said, Mengpa is a legend in the 9th hell. Legend has it that the 9th hell is in the heaven domain. Heaven domain? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He said without thinking, that's right. So, I think this place is man-made. Maybe it's just a test. We might not really lose our memories. So, we can only take a gamble. Take a gamble? That's right. Since we can't escape, let's take a gamble. I'll go first. With that, Lu Ming stepped out and strode towards Mengpa. Many people were shocked. Lu Ming actually took the initiative to step out. Little guy, please. Mengpa raised the bowl of Grandma Meng's soup in her hand. Okay. Lu Ming was very straightforward. He picked up Mengpo's soup and drank it in one gulp. Then he returned the bowl to Mengpa and leaped into the dark vortex. Let me. Then a burly young man walked out. It was Yi Dongfang. Obviously, Lu Ming wasn't the only one with courage. Yi Dongfang drank Mengpo's soup and leaped into the vortex like Lu Ming. Then Huang Ling stepped out and drank Mengpo's soup before leaping into the vortex. The others' expressions changed, but they also understood that there was no way out today. They could only drink Mengpo's soup and step forward one by one. Soon, all the geniuses who came and jumped into the dark vortex. Chapter 1644. After Lu Ming jumped into the whirlpool, he felt dizzy and became more and more confused. Gradually, Lu Ming fell into darkness and could not feel anything. After a long time, Lu Ming gradually regained consciousness. He slowly opened his eyes. His eyes revealed the vicissitudes of life as if he had experienced the vicissitudes of life. I actually experienced 9 lives and 9 lives. Could it be that reincarnation really exists in this world? Lu Ming whispered. His eyes were filled with complicated emotions. At that instant, a series of images appeared in his mind. Everything that had happened had been recalled. He drank Granny Meng's soup, jumped into the whirlpool, and fell into darkness. After that, he actually experienced 9 lives and 9 lives. In his first life, he was born in a family of generals in the empire. He led the army and fought in wars since he was young. When he reached his middle age, he became the marshal of the empire who controlled a large number of troops. However, the emperor was suspicious of him and killed him on a groundless charge. Then he was reincarnated. In his second life, he became a scholar. His family was poor, and he wanted to be the top scholar. However, when he was the top scholar, he fell in love with the daughter of a noble family. In the end, the noble family secretly sent people to kill him. Then it was his third life. In this life, he became an ordinary person, a villager in a small village. He married a wife and had children. In the end, he had many children and grandchildren. His hair turned gray, and he died of old age. The fifth life, in his ninth life, he became a useless person who could not awaken his bloodline. His bloodline was dug out by his childhood sweetheart. Then he accidentally found the Temple of Paragon and stepped on the path of martial arts. Later, when he awakened his third bloodline, the third bloodline roared and he suddenly woke up. It was as if the reincarnation had ended. The ninth life is my own experience. It is exactly the same as my own experience. Is there really reincarnation in this world? Or did I awaken the memories of the previous 8 lives? Lu Ming whispered. He was shocked and confused. It was as if he could not tell what was real and what was fake. Then, was his current life also one of the reincarnations? Was what he had experienced all the way real or fake? Little guy, I didn't expect you to wake up after experiencing 9 lives. This is really beyond my expectations. At that instant, an aged voice entered Lu Ming's ears. Lu Ming's heart jolted. Only then did he look around. The place he was in was a huge secret chamber, and a black-robed old man was walking towards him. Senior, you are? Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, In the past, people called me Samsara. The old man smiled. Reincarnation. You are the reincarnation emperor. Lu Ming could not help but exclaim. His mind slowly cleared up. Could it be that the Samsara emperor was still alive? Well, you can say that, but now it's just a remnant soul. The old man said with a smile. Lu Ming looked at it carefully and found that it was indeed not a physical body. It was more like a phantom or a wisp of soul. Senior Samsara, is there really reincarnation in this world? Lu Ming asked. Scenes of the 9 lives flashed through his mind from time to time. Is there really reincarnation in this world? I don't know either. The Samsara emperor let out a long sigh. You don't know either? Lu Ming was puzzled. Legend had it that the Samsara emperor controlled the law of reincarnation, which was one of the strongest laws in the world. It was on par with the law of chaos. Did he not know about reincarnation? Then, with the 9 lives he experienced real or fake. How could it be so real? Little guy, are you confused about your previous experience? In fact, it's not really reincarnation. It's just a reflection in the depths of your heart. You can understand it as a kind of illusion. In other words, it might have awakened the memories of your previous life. The Samsara emperor said, So there is no reincarnation in this world. Lu Ming let out a long sigh and calmed down his mind. It's hard to say. Maybe when one's cultivation reaches a high enough level, they can really reincarnate. Unfortunately, my cultivation level is not high enough. The Samsara emperor sighed, then looked at Lu Ming and said, Little guy, what's your name? You're the first one in your group to wake up. I thought that the strongest among you would have to experience 100 lives to wake up. You're really strange. I'm Lu Ming. Senior, how long have I been here? Lu Ming asked. You've been here for 3 months. The Samsara emperor said. 3 months? That's good. Lu Ming was relieved. He had experienced 9 lives. It was as if he had experienced a long time and comprehended the different lives of the 9 lives. He was afraid that he had experienced a long time in the real world. 3 months? That's good. Senior, are you the one who built this big tomb? And the yellow spring, helplessness. Then Lu Ming asked a lot of questions. He was really curious. Of course not. I was almost gone after the battle. Later on, a peerless expert came here and built a big tomb for me. He also preserved a wisp of my remnant soul. Everything outside is the work of that expert. Perhaps he couldn't bear to see what I had learned in my life go down the drain. So he left a big tomb for me so that I could pass on my legacy in the future. The Samsara emperor explained. As expected, Lu Ming muttered. He had heard of the legend before. It was said that after the 100 Races War, a peerless expert came to the 100 Races battlefield and built 9 tombs for the 9 strongest great emperors. The 1,000-kill martial emperor of the 1,000-kill sect had entered one of the tombs and obtained the inheritance. It seemed like the Yellow Spring helplessness was fake and was set up by that peerless expert. Lu Ming, you're cultivating the 9 dragons' war body, right? Speaking of which, that peerless expert is related to you. That expert is one of the top 10 battle beasts, the 9 lives demonic silkworm. The Samsara Emperor said, 9 lives demonic silkworm. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. According to Dandan, the top 10 battle beasts had all died in the battle a long time ago. But now it seemed that it was far from that simple. Dandan had used a special method to preserve its life. Later on, Lu Ming saw the Titan longhorn beetle and heard that the 9 lives demonic silkworm was still alive. Perhaps many of the top 10 battle beasts were still in the world. What a pity, what a pity. At this moment, the Samsara Emperor looked at Lu Ming carefully and sighed. Senior, what's a pity? Lu Ming was puzzled. You've experienced 9 lives and were the first to wake up. Originally, you could have obtained my inheritance, controlled the Samsara realm, and then comprehended the law of Samsara. Unfortunately, you've already comprehended the Chaos realm. Chaos and Samsara are one of the top 10 strongest laws in the world. Just like how a mountain cannot accommodate 2 tigers, it's difficult to control and merge them at the same time, the Samsara Emperor sighed and explained in detail. Cultivators could control multiple laws at the same time when they cultivated to a certain level. However, there were 10 strongest laws in the world that were difficult to control at the same time. Since ancient times, those who could control one of them were rare geniuses. Chapter 1645. After listening to the Reincarnation Emperor's explanation, Lu Ming felt that it was a pity. At the same time, he was shocked. In this world, there were as many as 9 types of laws that were on par with the chaos laws. Lu Ming did not know about this before. It seemed that his understanding was still too little. Senior, perhaps there will be someone suitable to inherit your legacy in the future. Lu Ming said, although it was a pity he could only give up. He could not give up the chaotic realm and cultivate the reincarnation realm. That was impossible. There's no time left. My remnant soul can't exist for too long. The Reincarnation Emperor sighed. Then, a crystal-like object appeared in his hand. It was magical. Lu Ming looked at it as if he was looking at a world. Lu Ming, this is my heart of the realm. It contains all my legacy. Take it. If you meet a suitable person in the future, help me pass it on. This is my last wish. The Reincarnation Emperor said. His voice was full of regret. It was a pity that a great emperor of a generation had fallen to such a state. Senior, Lu Ming will definitely find the most suitable successor for you and pass down the legacy. Lu Ming's eyes were firm. He took the heart of the realm from the Reincarnation Emperor and put it away solemnly. Thank you. The Reincarnation Emperor smiled and said, Little guy, since you're the first one to wake up, how can I let you return empty-handed? This reincarnation halberd is for you. The Reincarnation Emperor's hand glowed and a halberd appeared. This reincarnation halberd was my weapon in the past. However, it's been severely damaged and doesn't have much power left. However, I've sealed 2 forces in it. If each of these 2 forces were to unleash their full power, they could kill any expert below the Emperor realm. The Reincarnation Emperor said, It can kill any expert below the Emperor level. Lu Ming was shocked. Then he was overjoyed. Such a treasure was simply heaven-defying. At the critical moment, it could definitely turn the tables and save one's life. That's right. Of course, there are only 2 forces. Once they're used up, there's nothing left. Take it. The Reincarnation Emperor passed the reincarnation halberd to Lu Ming. Lu Ming put it away happily. All right, I'll send you out now. Samsara Emperor said, Senior, can I stay here for a while longer? I would like to cultivate here. Lu Ming said. Before this, he had experienced 9 lifetimes. Those scenes were like 9 real lifetimes. Lu Ming gained many insights. He felt that he was about to make a breakthrough in the primal chaos domain. One more step and he would be a half-saint. As long as he broke through to the half-step saint realm, his strength would skyrocket. Only then would he have more confidence when he went out. Don't worry about it. Just cultivate as much as you can, Samsara Emperor said. Lu Ming nodded and then sat down cross-legged. He took out the Tree of Enlightenment and began to comprehend quietly. The Tree of Enlightenment. This little fellow seems to have more secrets than I thought. The Samsara Emperor was taken aback for a moment before a faint smile appeared on his face. The chaotic domain on Lu Ming's body started to vibrate and undulate. In the blink of an eye, 7 days passed. Boom! Buzz! The chaotic domain on Lu Ming's body suddenly vibrated violently and then skyrocketed. Its aura surged. Ultimate domain. After experiencing 9 lifetimes and 9 reincarnations, Lu Ming was enlightened and finally broke through to the peak of the chaotic domain. The ultimate chaotic domain was much stronger than the level 9 chaotic domain. As soon as the chaotic domain broke through, the true yuan in Lu Ming's body started to surge. It roared and jumped, and its speed became faster and faster. His cultivation was about to break through. Lu Ming waved his hand, and a large pile of mid-grade primordial stones appeared on the ground. Lu Ming activated his devouring power and began to devour the primordial stones. 3 days later, Lu Ming did not know how many primordial stones he had refined. His aura suddenly skyrocketed, forming a true Yuan Qi pillar that rushed to the top of the secret chamber. However, the secret chamber was very sturdy. Lu Ming's true Yuan Qi pillar rushed to the top, but there was no reaction at all. At this moment, Lu Ming opened his eyes. Now he had finally broken through to the first stage of the half-saint realm. After breaking through to the half-saint realm, his combat strength had skyrocketed. He was now confident that he could defeat Tao Tai alone. Little guy, I almost forgot. I saw a trace of chaotic qi in your body. Let me give you another opportunity. The Reincarnation Emperor appeared and walked over. A stream of qi appeared in his hand and circled around his arm. Chaotic qi, this is the real chaotic qi. Lu Ming's eyes widened in shock. He immediately sensed that the stream of qi on the Reincarnation Emperor's arm was the real chaotic qi. Although he cultivated the chaotic domain, he had never seen the real chaotic qi. That's right. This is a strand of real chaotic qi. I obtained it before the war. I originally wanted to refine it into the Samsara halberd, but after the war I put it aside. Now I'm giving it to you. Refine it into your spiritual body. Your spiritual body's strength will increase greatly. Lu Ming, close your eyes. I'll help you, the Reincarnation Emperor said softly. Lu Ming quickly closed his eyes and became one with the Reincarnation Emperor. The Reincarnation Emperor waved his hand, and a stream of chaotic qi flew out and entered Lu Ming's body. Puff! Lu Ming's body shook violently, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The chaotic qi was the origin energy of heaven and earth. Even a stream of it could crush a mountain range. It was extremely heavy. When the chaotic qi entered Lu Ming's body, he felt that his body was about to collapse. Hang in there. There's a trace of chaotic qi in your body. You should be able to refine it. The Reincarnation Emperor's voice rang in his ears. Then, a ray of light shone from the Reincarnation Emperor's hand and enveloped Lu Ming. Suddenly, Lu Ming felt the pressure on his body lighten. He focused his mind and started to refine the chaotic qi. Slowly, a wisp of true chaotic qi intertwined with the original wisp of chaotic qi in his body and slowly seeped into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's body was slowly becoming stronger. Meanwhile, several young men were sitting on the underworld bridge. They were Huang Ling, the 10th prince of the Golden Crow, the Tao Tai, and the others. The 40 or so sky prides who had jumped into the vortex were all here. At this moment, the geniuses opened their eyes one after another. Their eyes were filled with confusion. What's going on? I clearly remembered drinking Mengpo soup and jumping into the vortex. Why am I still here? Someone blurted out with a confused look. I don't know either. I only know that I fell into darkness and lost my consciousness. I woke up here. Me too. The others nodded. It seemed like they were different from Lu Ming. Lu Ming could remember the scenes of his 9 reincarnations, but these people seemed to have forgotten them. The 10th prince of the Golden Crow was engulfed in flames. He rose to his feet and scanned his surroundings cautiously. He let out a sigh of relief when he did not see Mengpo. It seems like we have come out of the reincarnation realm. Who was it that obtained the succession of the reincarnation emperor? Chapter 1646. Everyone looked at each other. They wanted to know who had obtained the reincarnation emperor's inheritance. The person who has obtained the reincarnation emperor's inheritance must be among us. You better tell us. Don't try to keep it to yourself. Tao Tai said coldly. He moved and blocked the path of the bridge of helplessness. He stared at the crowd with a ferocious look. Everyone looked at each other in confusion. The place fell silent and the atmosphere became heavy. Before we know who has obtained the reincarnation emperor's inheritance, let's stay here. No one is going to leave. Tao Tai said domineeringly. There seems to be one person missing among us. At this moment, a voice was heard. It was Sima Liang. He looked at Huang Ling. That's right. There is one person missing. Lu Ming is not here. A young man in a black feather coat said. He was Prince Tianying of the Sky Bird Palace. There was a puzzled look in Huang Ling's eyes. Why was Lu Ming not here? That's true. Could it be that Lu Ming has obtained the inheritance and is accepting it now? Maybe he has already left. Some people guessed. Let's wait here. If Lu Ming has not come out, he will definitely come out. If he does not come out after a while, we will go out and look for him. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's eyes flickered. The Reincarnation Emperor was a true emperor who had mastered the law of reincarnation. His inheritance was more precious than the 1,000-kill martial monarch's inheritance, who would not be tempted. Immediately, everyone began to wait quietly on the bridge of helplessness. Lu Ming, on the other hand, focused on refining the chaotic aura. Slowly, a wisp of chaotic qi seeped into Lu Ming's body and spread to his cells. Every part of Lu Ming's body was filled with a wisp of chaotic qi. It took a few days for Lu Ming to completely refine the wisp of chaotic aura. Lu Ming ended his cultivation and leapt to his feet. What a powerful force! Lu Ming felt that his body was filled with endless power. When he punched, it was heavier than a mountain. He now felt that he could smash a half-saint who had comprehended the laws to death with his physical strength alone. Lu Ming, although your current spiritual body is still an inferior heaven spiritual body, in terms of strength, it is no weaker than a medium heaven spiritual body. The voice of the Samsara Emperor was heard. Thank you, Senior. Senior, you? Lu Ming stood up and was about to bow to the Samsara Emperor when he found that the Samsara Emperor's body had become very faint, as if it would disappear at any time. He knew that the Samsara Emperor had used up the last of his soul power to help him. Senior, I'm sorry. Lu Ming's heart was filled with deep regret, and he felt a lump in his throat. Little guy, don't blame yourself. This wisp of my soul was about to dissipate anyway. It has nothing to do with you. Now I'll send you out. Go ahead and travel the world as soon as possible. With that, the Samsara Emperor waved his hand. Lu Ming felt his body tighten as he left the secret chamber and came to a place of nothingness. There was a pitch-black vortex in front of him. Senior, I will definitely find a suitable successor for you so that your legacy can be passed down forever. Lu Ming swore in his heart and then stepped into the vortex. In the next moment, Lu Ming passed through the vortex, and a bridge appeared in front of him. It was the bridge of helplessness. Lu Ming stepped onto the bridge of helplessness. On the bridge of helplessness, everyone looked toward Lu Ming. Their eyes were filled with a fiery glow. Everyone, long time no see. How have you been? Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming, you're finally out. Tell me, did you get the legacy of the Samsara Emperor? The 10th Golden Crow Prince emitted a powerful aura and locked onto Lu Ming. The legacy of the Samsara Emperor? Why do you say that? Lu Ming pretended to be confused. Lu Ming, I knew you would try to deny it. We all came here at the same time, but you're the only one who came out a few days later than the others. You must have gotten the legacy of the Samsara Emperor. The Taotai spoke as he strode forward. Does it mean that I've gotten the legacy of the Samsara Emperor just because I'm late? Lu Ming said calmly. Everyone, it's simple. We just need to cripple him and search his soul, and everything will be clear. By then, he will still have to spit everything out. A cold voice could be heard. It was Sima Liang who spoke. Since the start of the fight for the map and key of the Samsara Emperor's tomb, he had been at a disadvantage against Lu Ming and Huang Ling. Later on, he and Zhao Kuang wanted to cooperate with Lu Ming and Huang Ling, but they were chased away by Lu Ming. It was a great humiliation for him. He had been looking for a chance to kill Lu Ming. Now that he had the chance, he would not let it go. Lu Ming looked at Sima Liang coldly and said, "You're courting death." Sima Liang's expression changed. He was slightly frightened, but his courage was boosted when he thought of the presence of so many experts. What's wrong? Did I hit the nail on the head? You want to kill me? Humph, there are so many people here. You won't have the chance today. That's right. Lu Ming, you should hand over the Samsara Emperor's legacy. Young master, Tianying said coldly. Bang! The 10th Golden Crow Prince took a step forward. His body was engulfed in the divine flame of the sun as he said, "If you don't want to admit it, I'll search your soul." Golden Crow, what are you trying to do? Huang Ling shouted as her body was engulfed in the undying flame. Her powerful aura surged towards the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Huang Ling, it's better for you to stand there obediently, Tao Tai said coldly. He took a step forward and stood in front of Huang Ling. Everyone, search his soul. Apart from the Samsara Emperor's legacy, there are other secrets on him. Let's get them all. Sima Liang shouted arrogantly. You're courting death. Lu Ming looked at Sima Liang coldly. He took a step forward and charged towards Sima Liang. Who are you trying to kill? Stay here. The 10th Golden Crow Prince said coldly as he grabbed at Lu Ming with his claw. However, Lu Ming's body was covered in wind and lightning as he executed the wind-lightning step. In a flash, Lu Ming dodged the 10th Golden Crow Prince's attack and appeared in front of Sima Liang in an instant. Then he reached out his hand and grabbed at Sima Liang. Sima Liang was shocked. He unleashed all of his cultivation and a halberd appeared in his hand. He slashed at Lu Ming. Die! Lu Ming shouted as he executed the divine sword art. 2 black rays of light shot out from his eyes and landed on Sima Liang's spiritual spirit. Sima Liang let out a miserable shriek and his hand froze. When a cultivator made a breakthrough in their cultivation, they would also condense their soul and increase their soul power. When Lu Ming broke through to the first stage of half-sage, his soul power also increased by a notch. Chapter 1647. Sima Liang paused in his actions, and Lu Ming's claws grabbed his throat. A terrifying force surged into Sima Liang's body. Sima Liang's vital essence was scattered and his bones cracked. He did not know how many of them were broken. Let me go. Sima Liang's eyes were filled with fear. Let you go? I've given you a chance. You're the one who wants to die. I can't help you. Lu Ming said coldly. Lu Ming, you better let him go. The 10th Prince of the Golden Crow spoke. His eyes emitted a golden glow as an icy, murderous intent spread out. Lu Ming was the one who escaped from his clutches. Now that he had grabbed Sima Liang, he felt very embarrassed. You want me to let him go? Who do you think you are? Lu Ming looked at the 10th Golden Crow Prince. He did not give him any face, and a violent energy burst out from his palm. Bang! Sima Liang's body exploded in Lu Ming's hands. Thereafter, he was crushed by the terrifying power and turned into ashes. The others sucked in a cold breath. How can Lu Ming's strength be so terrifying? Sima Liang's strength was not weak and was comparable to most of the people present. However, he couldn't even last one move from Lu Ming. He was as weak as a baby and had no strength to fight back, especially young master Tianying. He had spoken out to oppress Lu Ming, and he felt a chill run down his spine. You're just relying on a soul attack. You're courting death. The 10th Golden Crow Prince shouted coldly. A golden light flashed, and he pounced towards Lu Ming. Lu Ming dared to say who he was? He's courting death. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's claw turned into the Golden Crow's claw, and it was filled with a great divine fire. He clawed at Lu Ming, wanting to kill Lu Ming. At the side, Huang Ling wanted to help, but she was blocked by Tao Tai. The others looked on coldly. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. He stood still and slashed at the 10th Golden Crow Prince with his palm like a knife. Lu Ming actually wants to fight the 10th Golden Crow Prince in close combat. He's really courting death. The Golden Crow body is already extremely powerful. The Golden Crow 10th Prince's physique is equivalent to a low-class heaven's spiritual body. Coupled with his nomological vessel, it's even more terrifying. Lu Ming has no chance in close combat. Some people couldn't help but mock Lu Ming when they saw that he was going to take the 10th Prince's claw head-on. Bang! Lu Ming's palm struck the 10th Golden Crow Prince's claw, emitting a sound of metal clashing. The 10th Golden Crow Prince's expression changed drastically. He then roared furiously and clawed out claw shadows that filled the sky. Lu Ming's palms also struck out continuously. In an instant, the two of them clashed head-on, exchanging dozens of blows in succession. However, what surprised everyone was that after a few dozen moves, the 10th Golden Crow Prince was knocked back a dozen steps before he could stabilize himself. His palm was trembling slightly and blood was flowing out. In a head-on clash, he was no match for Lu Ming at all. Even his claws were shattered. Everyone else was speechless. How was this possible? In a head-on clash, Lu Ming actually had the upper hand in terms of physical strength and injured the 10th Golden Crow Prince. It's my turn! Lu Ming roared and charged toward the 10th Golden Crow Prince. The chaotic domain had reached its peak and covered his body. He used the hell-suppressing heaven skill to attack the 10th Golden Crow Prince. Caw! With a caw, the 10th Golden Crow Prince reverted to his true form. His body was golden like a small sun. He flapped his wings and charged toward Lu Ming. However, his body shook violently as soon as he came into contact with Lu Ming, as if he was being torn apart. His great sun, divine fire, and fire law were completely suppressed by Lu Ming's chaotic domain. Boom! Golden feathers fluttered in the sky. The 10th Golden Crow Prince was furious. He clawed at Lu Ming with 3 claws under his abdomen, but he was knocked back by Lu Ming's punches. So powerful! Everyone was shocked. Lu Ming's combat strength was so powerful that he could suppress the 10th Golden Crow Prince. He has broken through. He was already terrifying when he was a rank 9 Martial Royal. Now that he has broken through to the Sage-to-Be, his combat strength must be even stronger. Someone said, Tao Tai, come and help me. The 10th Golden Crow Prince shouted. Roar! Tao Tai reverted to his true form and was about to rush forward to help, but Huang Ling stood in front of him. Huang Ling, let him attack together. Today, I will beat him up together. Lu Ming said. Huang Ling's eyes lit up and she moved aside. Tao Tai roared and charged toward Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming shouted and the divine sword art burst forth. He then raised his hand and used the Chaotic Sky Flipping Seal to attack Tao Tai. The Chaotic Sky Flipping Seal pressed down and almost pressed Tao Tai down. Boom! 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 Lu Ming attacked the 10th Golden Crow Prince fiercely, like a god of war. The 10th Golden Crow Prince was forced to retreat and roar in anger. In the end, Lu Ming grabbed one of the Golden Crow 10th Prince's wings, swung it up, and smashed it toward the charging Tao Tai. With a bang, the 10th Golden Crow Prince and Tao Tai collided, and the sound of bones breaking could be heard. Buzz! A huge, chaotic sky-flipping seal appeared in the sky and pressed down on the 10th Golden Crow Prince and Tao Tai. The terrifying power forced the others to retreat to the two ends of the bridge of helplessness for fear of being affected. The 10th Golden Crow Prince and Tao Tai roared, and their bodies shone brightly as they resisted with all their might. But it was useless. Lu Ming had used all his strength in the chaotic sky-flipping seal, and it was extremely powerful. The 10th Golden Crow Prince and Tao Tai's bodies shook violently, and they were pressed to the ground and vomited blood. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Lu Ming fought 1 against 2 and actually suppressed the Golden Crow 10th Prince and Tao Tai to the ground, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. How was this possible? Lu Ming's combat power was strong, and they were well aware of this. Now that Lu Ming had broken through, they had initially speculated that Lu Ming would be able to fight with one of them. It was even possible for him to defeat one of them. However, he had completely crushed them. This was too terrifying. They did not know that Lu Ming had refined a wisp of true chaotic qi in his spiritual body. Although it was still an inferior heaven spiritual body, it was already equivalent to a medium heaven spiritual body. Naturally, he could completely suppress the 10th Golden Crow Prince and Tao Tai. Kill! The black dragon spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand, and he charged toward the 10th Golden Crow Prince and Tao Tai. Let's go! The 10th Golden Crow Prince and Tao Tai roared and rushed toward the other side of the bridge of helplessness. They fled frantically in the direction they came from. Their speed was astonishing. Lu Ming's eyes flickered, but he did not chase after them. At that moment, the others looked at Lu Ming with fear and seriousness. Even the geniuses who were at the same level as the 10th Golden Crow Prince felt the same way. Lu Ming, your battle strength has increased. I am no match for you. Huang Ling came over with a smile. Let's go out.